to HOJO Radio.
We toast them crisp, we toast them light. You can tell by the taste we toast them. They're a tasty treat, so good to eat. Delicious and light from toasted. Oh, toasted.
And you know what? We like 'em.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns. I can hear you. What's the trouble there? Is she all alone? How much is on the clock? $2 and what? Well, why can't you pay it? Where'd she lose it? Where? You are in the muster room at the 21st Precinct, the nerve center. A call is coming through. You will follow the action taken pursuant to that call from this minute until the final report is written in the 124 room at the 21st Precinct. All right, you're driving a hack. Drive her into the station house. We'll talk about it when you get here. Just drive around the station. We'll get it all settled here. 21st Precinct. It's just lines on a map of the city of New York. Most of the 173,000 people wedged into the 9/10 of a square mile between Fifth Avenue and the East River wouldn't know if you asked them that they lived or worked in the 21st. Whether they know it or not, the security of their persons, their homes, and their property is my job. My job and the job of the 160 patrolmen, 11 sergeants, and 4 lieutenants of whom I'm the boss. My name is Kennelly, Frank Kennelly. I'm captain in command of the 21st.
What makes a city? Not buildings, not subways, not business. People make a city. From dawn to midnight, from midnight to dawn, the rich and the poor and the good and the bad pour their lives together and stir up the city. As in the 21st, a little over 2 weeks ago.
I was working my 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. tour. At 1:55 a.m., following patrol, I returned to the station house. In the muster room, Sergeant Burns was on the boxes. Lieutenant Snyder was the desk officer. A hack driver and a well-dressed, very pretty young woman, about 20, stood in front of the railing. I walked around behind the desk to make an entry in the blotter that I had returned from patrol. What's doing, Sergeant? Nothing much, sir. It's been a quiet tour.
Look, I got no time to stand here and discuss the pros and cons. There was $2.40 on the clock. Now, all I want is my money, that's all.
I'd pay you if I had it. I told you I lost my wallet.
Hello, Lieutenant. Captain.
Lady, just give me the $2.40.
She says she lost her wallet.
Well, why couldn't she look and see if she had her wallet before she got in my cab at Idlewild Airport, Lieutenant? Why does she have to wait until we get to 80th Street and Park Avenue before she finds it out?
I looked in my purse for a cigarette, and I noticed the wallet was missing. I told you I'd give you a tip.
Lady, when I turn the cab in at 4 o'clock in the morning, the boss wants cash for what's on the clock. He don't want check.
I don't have the cash. I lost my wallet.
Why do I get all the sad stories? I've never seen it.
Where were you going from Idlewild, miss?
She said Penn State.
All right, 19. What's your name, miss?
Elizabeth Earlwood.
Do you have any identification?
No, it was all in my wallet, Lieutenant. I've got my checkbook, though.
I'm not interested.
What's your name?
Swinagi, Joe Swinagi.
Well, now, look, Joe, these things happen.
But always to me. Why?
Who are you, anyway? I'm Captain Kennelly.
Oh, beg your pardon. I'd just like to know who I'm talking to.
You're wasting time here.
Not news to me, Captain.
I didn't want to come here.
I'd suggest that you take the young lady's check and get back on the job. The only other thing to do is file a complaint against her.
I got a good mind to do just that.
What does that mean? I haven't arrested?
21st Precinct, Sergeant. Do you, know anybody around here that you can call and get the money from me?
Well, you take your meal now.
I don't know a soul, not a soul. I'm from out of town.
You wouldn't want to spend the morning in court, would you, Joe?
I want to spend the morning sleeping. Give me the check and let me get out of here.
Oh, I really appreciate it. You don't know how much I appreciate
Here,
it.
miss, you want a pen?
Oh, yes, thanks. Thanks a lot. How do you want it made out?
Just the cash. That's good enough.
It was $2.40. I'll make it for $4. That'll be a good tip for all the trouble I caused you.
What's up to you, lady? Yeah?
You know I lost my wallet and I don't have a cent of cash. I couldn't make it for $10 and you give me $6 change.
No, you couldn't. Now, listen, just make it for $2.40. Just give it to me and let me get out of here.
All right, there wasn't any harm in asking.
Plenty of harm.
21st
That's enough already.
Burns. Yes, sir? Hold on. Captain Kennelly, the division lieutenant for you.
Okay.
Now, lean up against the desk to the right, it says.
I'll take it here.
Yes, sir.
Captain Kennelly.
Yes, Dev.
No, I can't spare him.
Well, I'm short 2 sergeants now. Waters went sick yesterday and Klein's on vacation. Oh, I can't.
No.
Oh, no, there's no harm in asking. All right, Deb. That's okay. So long.
How is Sergeant Waters, Captain? Did you hear from him?
He's better. His wife called last night.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I'm really sorry to cause so much trouble. I made it out for $4 anyway. Here.
Braxton, Pennsylvania. Where's Braxton, Pennsylvania?
It's near Philadelphia. Lieutenant, did I get the pen from you?
That's right.
Look, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Well, can I go now? Yeah, go ahead. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Goodbye. I can't blame him, I guess.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns.
But I couldn't help it.
Singleton.
Do you live in Braxton?
You want
Yes,
to
sir,
talk
that's
to him?
right.
Put him on here.
Near Philadelphia.
What are you doing in New York? Lieutenant Snyder.
Well, it's a long story.
Listen, you put unidentified on the UF95 tag for that DOA. The aided card says he was registered into the hotel as Herbert Rowden. Now, which is right? Miss, walk across the hall there to my office, will you?
Over there?
Yes, that's right. The cards in his pocket showed what name? And just have a seat in there.
Yes, sir, if you want.
How do you spell it? E-L-R-L-E. Oh, Sergeant, did you check and see if her wallet was turned in on at Idlewild?
All right.
Just came in a minute before you did. All right, I'll be in my office. Yes, sir? Elizabeth Elwood. How do you spell that?
E-R-L-W-O-O-D.
What were you doing out at Idlewild?
Well, you see, I came to New York on the train with a friend of mine. She left on a plane for Europe at midnight. I was going back to Philadelphia.
All right. That's okay.
I'm sorry. And I put her in the plane and took a cab to go back to Penn Station. When I opened my pocketbook for a cigarette, I noticed my wallet was missing. That's all there is to it. I couldn't help it.
Did you have your pocketbook open at the airport?
Oh, yes, several times. I bought her a couple of magazines and we went to the bar and had a drink. Several times.
You didn't miss it before you got in the cab?
No, sir. I told you I was going to smoke a cigarette.
You were on your way to Penn Station to get a train to Philadelphia?
Yes, sir. That's right, to Philadelphia. Then I'd have to change there for Braxton. That's on the other side of Philadelphia, on the main line. I really couldn't help it. I can't blame the cab driver for being mad. He's entitled to his money, but I couldn't help it. I didn't want to lose my wallet.
Yes, I know. Do you have any friends in New York?
Well, there are a couple of people. Girls I went to school with, but I wouldn't know where they are exactly.
Would you like to call your home?
Oh, I don't think that would be a good idea at this time of night. You see, I didn't even tell my mother and father I was coming to New York. They'd get scared to death. She's nervous anyway. And he's probably not home. He stays in town a lot. Philadelphia, that is. Grover C. Irwood, did you ever hear of him?
No.
Oh, he's a pretty big man.
Well, if you don't call him, you have to do something.
All I want to do is get to Penn Station and get on the train, that's all. I had a return ticket, but that was in my wallet, too.
How much money did you have?
Oh, I don't know, $35 or $40, something like that, not much.
Excuse me. Captain Kennelly.
Sergeant Burns, Captain. I called both the 103rd and the Port Authority police at Idlewild. There's been no wallet turned in.
Okay, thanks. Well, your wallet hasn't been turned in, not as yet.
Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Look at me. I look terrible, don't I?
Well, there's no reason for you to have been crying.
I'll be all right. I just had the money to get home, that's all I need. About $10. Captain, would you post a check for me for $10?
Miss.
$10, that's all. I could get a train home and pay the cab fare from the Braxton station to my house. That's all it would take, $10.
Look, Miss Elwood, if I cashed a check for everyone who walked in the door...
Good, I promise it's good.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
I'll leave my watch with you. Look, it's a beautiful watch. My father gave it to me. 17 jewels and a gold case. You keep it until you're sure about the check.
All right, never mind the watch, Miss Elwood. Just write out the check. I'll cash it for you.
Oh, thanks. You don't have any idea how this saves my life. It really saves my life.
I took the young woman's check and gave her $10 from my own pocket. She powdered her nose, thanked me profusely, and left the station house at 2:20 a.m. The rest of the tour was quiet. At 8 a.m., I turned out the platoon for the day tour, signed the blotter, and left the precinct to go off duty. It was a heavy week. We were plagued by a series of housebreakings. There was a 3-alarm fire, 2 armed robberies, a rash of car thefts, and a traffic fatality during the next few days. all in addition to the ordinary occurrences. On Friday morning at 8 a.m., I arrived in the precinct for my day tour. I turned out the platoon, then returned to my office to read the reports and communications which had accumulated. These I signed while I spoke to George Underwood, the precinct youth patrolman, in regard to his plans for a championship playoff among softball teams from the various playgrounds in the precinct. About 10:30, I had finished the paperwork and interviews. I walked out into the muster room.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns.
Oh, Rolf, walk around to 346 and see the super. City Marshal's on his way to serve an eviction notice. Super says the tenant might give a little trouble. He's a fighter. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let me know.
What have we got, Sergeant?
Nothing much, Captain. Pretty quiet. Hey, Captain, just got a minute.
Yeah, sure. Hello, man.
Hi. Hello, Lieutenant.
Wait. What's the trouble?
Listen, Captain, did you take a check from a girl a few days ago, a kid 18 to 20, honey-colored hair, very pretty?
Yes, that's right. For $10. How did you know about it?
I just got a call from downtown. We were notified by the Pennsylvania State Police. Was forged.
You're kidding.
No. Your bank will notify you today, I guess. That girl's been papering the town with those checks. Put out a couple of dozen of them.
How do you like that?
The forgery squad got in the whole list this morning. Somebody down there recognized your name. They phoned up and asked if it was you.
It's me. Who is she? Do they know?
No. She's really laying down that paper all over New York. Just small amounts, but she sure picked a good name to forge. Mrs. Elizabeth Hans Earlwood. Big name in Philadelphia. I see how she does it.
I do. That kid sold me a bill of goods. She came in here with a real sad story about losing her money.
Yeah. That's what she's been using, according to the forgery squad. Same story. The bank down there just threw their hands in the air when all these checks started showing up.
She sold me. She really sold me.
Yes, sir. Sweet, innocent, and in trouble. You can see how she hung that paper all over town if she sold you, Captain. Just next time, be careful.
No, man. Next time, I'll take the watch. An alarm was put out for the young woman who forged the name of Elizabeth Hans Earlwood to more than 24 checks and passed them on various merchants and individuals in the city of New York. But the alarm didn't stop her. In the next few days, a dozen more such checks were refused payment by the bank at Braxton, Pennsylvania. In New York, the investigation was handled by detectives of the Forgery Squad, one of the several organizations of specialized investigators who operate on a citywide basis from the central office. In the meantime, the tour-by-tour activities continued in the 21st Precinct. On Saturday, we had a bad homicide. On Sunday morning, a 7-year-old girl on her way to church was struck by a hit-and-run driver on First Avenue. Both her legs were broken, but she was more worried about her dress. The house burglaries continued. No leads there. Monday morning at 11:40, I returned to the precinct from patrol. In the muster room, Sergeant Burns was on the boxes. Lieutenant Snyder was on duty as desk officer. Hello, Red.
Captain. Hello, Captain.
What's doing, Sergeant?
Nothing much, sir. It's a quiet tour. A couple of messages for you.
No, thanks.
That Mr. Escher wouldn't leave his first name. He said he'd call back.
No, I know who he is. Oh, is this one Congressman Thompson?
Yes, sir, that's right. He said he'd be at that number until 2:30 p.m. Do you want to sign the blotter, Captain? I've got the entry made.
Yeah. All right, Red.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns.
Watch that new pen, Captain. The ink really flowed.
All right.
17.
Thanks, Captain.
Oh, Sergeant, see if you can get Congressman Tobin back for me.
Yes, sir.
I'll take it in my office.
Where may I find Captain Canelli, please?
Over here, ma'am. You'll have to make inquiries at the desk.
That's all right, Lieutenant. I'm Captain Canelli
Oh, how do you do? I'm Mrs. Elizabeth Hans Earlwood.
of Philadelphia.
Oh, you know me?
Well, let's say I've heard of you.
I'd like to talk to you, Captain.
In here, Mrs. Earlwood.
Thank you.
Have a chair.
Thank you.
Well, somebody's been using your name in vain, Mrs. Earlwood.
That's what I want to talk to you about, Captain Canelli. Oh, how do you pronounce it? Canelli or Kennelly?
Canelli.
There's a Mrs. Conwood who served with me on the Philadelphia Eleemosynary Board. She was a Canelli. Mrs. Byron Conwood, is she your family?
No, I'm afraid not.
Perhaps it was Kennedy.
What can I do for you, Mrs. Earlwood? You know, I'm not handling the investigation. I'm just another victim in this case.
Yes, and it's too bad.
I know you were just performing an act of kindness. You were being a good Samaritan.
I was trying to be.
You were. And I want to make restitution of the $10 you lost.
You're under no obligation to do that, Mrs. Irwin.
I think I am. It was $10, wasn't it?
Those checks were forged on your bank account. The responsibility belongs to the first endorser.
The responsibility belongs to me, Captain. You see, I know who forged all those checks.
Who?
Well...
Oh, excuse me.
Of course.
Captain Kennelly.
Captain, I have Congressman Tarpon for you.
Oh, all right. I'll just be a minute, Mrs. Elwood.
That's all right.
Hello, Frank.
Oh, I tried to reach you yesterday, Congressman.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. What can I do for you, Frank?
Well, just a little information, that's all, Congressman. Do you know Father Cotella of St. Agnes?
Yes?
Well, he has a student he's very interested in. The boy finished his first year at CCNY, and he's made excellent marks. He's right up there at the top of his class. Good athlete, nice young man.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's not much money in the family. They have a little hardware store. The boy wants to get into West Point. He'd be good. Father Cotella knows there are competitive examinations before you make your appointments. He just wants to find out how to go about getting him on the list. I told him I'd call you.
Sure, Frank. I'll have my administrative assistant get in touch with Father Cotella, all right?
Fine. You want the boy's name?
No, not yet. We'll get all the information on him from Father Cotella. Well, thanks for calling, Frank.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Once a good Samaritan.
Oh, it's all part of the job, Miss Elwood. You said you knew who forged those checks.
Yes, I do.
Who?
My daughter.
Oh?
Don't look so surprised, Captain. I have a daughter that age. My daughter, Elizabeth. So you see, it's not really forgery. Her name is Elizabeth, too. It's not really forgery.
Is her middle name Hans?
No.
Does she have an account at that bank?
No, but she has an account at the bank in Philadelphia in her own name. She has money in there, plenty of money. I deposit $50 a week to her account. I don't understand why she does it. I don't understand.
Have any officers come to see you at home, Mrs. Irwin?
Oh, yes, a very nice young detective from the Pennsylvania State Police. Very nice.
Did you tell him you suspected it was your daughter?
No.
Why not?
My husband told me not to. I wanted to tell the bank to pay the checks just to let them go through, but my husband told me not to.
You have any idea why your daughter is doing this? She's forged and passed nearly 40 checks in New York alone.
I don't know. I really don't. She's had everything all her life, everything. There's not a thing she wanted we didn't give her. And she just left home all of a sudden, and the next thing we knew, the checks started. I didn't even know she was in New York.
Why did she leave home, Miss Irwin?
I don't know.
Well, there must have been a reason.
It was something with her father.
What?
Well, it's really very personal.
Miss Elwood, your personal matter isn't personal anymore. It's very public. About 40 people in New York are victims of it.
I'd rather not go into it.
I'm afraid you'll have to.
Well, I'm involved in it, too, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah?
Well, you see, my husband was away. He told us he was going to Chicago on business. The weekend came, and Liz was invited out to Wilmington for a party on Saturday night. She didn't want to go. She never wants to go, but I talked her into it. Anyway, she went. She had a very good time. After the party, the young hostess and her friends decided to go to an inn on the shore for coffee and a snack. She saw her father there.
Oh?
He was with another woman.
How old is Liz?
19. She'll be 20 in October.
And did she talk to her father?
No, luckily he didn't see her, but she came home very upset. I had no idea what the trouble was. Finally, on Monday or Tuesday, she spoke to me. Told me she'd seen him. Well, I said, Liz, I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but it's been going on for years. Your father has his friends, and I have mine. That's the way it is.
What did she say?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just on my way out of the house when I told her I was late for a dinner party.
Did she leave right away?
Oh, no. In a day or so.
Do you have any idea where she's staying in New York?
No.
Oh, could she be with friends?
Well, she only has one friend here. I called her even before the check started, but she hadn't heard from Liz. Captain, that girl has had the best education money could give her. She has a car all her own, a 1952 convertible, all of her own. She has clothes, lots of clothes, and money of her own.
What made you decide to come to New York, Miss Elwood?
I wanted to find her and bring her home. That's the natural thing for a mother to do. I want to get the thing straightened out. Besides, my friends would begin to ask questions.
Does your husband know you came?
No, he'd be against it. He's afraid she'll cause a lot of trouble. He doesn't want any trouble or any scandal. He's very annoyed with this.
Is he?
Well, I admit I don't understand her myself. What's gotten into her? Why would she do this to me?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that, Miss Elwood. I'm only a policeman. I took Mrs. Elwood upstairs to the 21st Detective Squad and introduced her to Lieutenant King. He called Detective Scanlon of the Forgery Squad, who was handling the squeals in this case. Detective Scanlon, along with Lieutenant King, interviewed Mrs. Elwood. As she repeated the story she told me, I went back to my office. A new alarm was put out for the young woman, and a communication to the Pennsylvania State Police advised them of the actual circumstances in the case. The next day, orders came through from the chief inspector instructing each precinct captain to accompany the patrol sergeant on cabaret inspection at the rate of no less than 2 a night until all cabarets were visited. Delegates to 2 recent conventions had complained that they were being overcharged in a few midtown nightclubs. We were instructed to look for such violations of the state liquor law and city licensing regulations as might lead to the clipping of patrons. These included the lack of a bill of fare plainly stating prices, improper lighting, and mingling of entertainers and employees with patrons.
Everything looks all right here, Captain.
Yeah. Did you take a look in the kitchen?
Yes, sir.
Are they prepared to serve food?
Yes, sir. There's a cook on the job.
All right, let's go.
We can go around the corner to the High-Low Club, Captain.
We'll see. Oh, just a second. Wait here a minute. There's someone at the bar I want to talk to.
Yes, sir. Well, it depends, honey. That depends on how you feel about it.
Excuse me.
What's on your mind?
I want to talk to the young lady.
What do you want to talk to me about?
Listen, it's a private conversation, fella. Get lost.
I'm a police officer.
Oh, excuse me.
What do you want to talk to me about?
Now, Liz, you remember.
Listen, what's the trouble anyway?
What's your name, mister?
Why do you want to know that?
Because this girl is wanted for passing 39 forged checks, that's why.
It's so, Carl. It's absolutely so.
Listen, I only met her tonight, only an hour ago.
What's your name?
Holt, Carl Holt. That's the truth. You can ask her. Isn't that the truth?
It's the truth.
Did you cash a check for her, Mr. Holt?
For me?
No.
You would have, Carl. You would have. Everybody does. Even policemen. Everybody loves me.
I called Sergeant Burns over, and we took Liz Elwood and her companion to the station house. On the way in, Patrolman Novak, who had relieved Sergeant Burns on TS, told me that Lieutenant King was in. I instructed Sergeant Burns to resume his duties and went upstairs to the 21st Squad. After a few minutes of questioning, Carl Holt convinced us that he had, in fact, only met the girl that evening in another bar. He gave his address and promised to appear again if needed. Then he was allowed to go. Detective Scanlon of the Forgery Squad was called. While he was en route, Matt King and I talked to the girl.
Is that the only reason, Liz?
Well, I had to live.
You want to call your mother? You can place a call to her.
No, I don't want to call her. I don't want to talk to her.
Well, if you don't, Liz, I do. Is this phone to TS, Matt?
That's right, yes, sir.
I haven't anything to say to her.
21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns.
This is Captain Kennelly.
Yes, sir.
Would you step in my office and look in the corner of my desk blotter? There's a note with the number of Mrs. Elizabeth Hance Irwood in Braxton, Pennsylvania.
Braxton?
Yeah, that's right. Place a collect call to Mrs. Irwood at that number.
Right away, Captain.
Right.
You have a bank account of your own, Liz. Why'd you have to forge checks in your mother's name?
I don't know. It seemed like I should.
What made you?
I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you.
You know you hurt a lot of people.
Did I? I didn't mean to.
About 40 people, including Captain Kennelly.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. You know I'm sorry, Captain.
I hope you are.
I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just wanted to get money from people to prove they liked me, that's all. If they were willing to take a check from me, that proved they liked me, didn't it? That's all I wanted to prove.
You could have given checks on your own account to prove the same thing.
No, that's not so. It wouldn't prove the same thing. It wouldn't prove the same thing because... I don't know. It just wouldn't.
What were you doing out at Idlewild that night?
Idlewild?
Yes, the airport.
When?
When you said you didn't have money to pay the cab driver?
Oh,
What were you doing there?
I went out there just to cash a check, that's all. I thought that would be a nice place. I'm sorry I didn't realize I'd cause so much trouble. I really didn't. If that's my mother, I don't want to talk to her. I don't.
All right, I get it, man.
I won't.
Captain Kennelly.
Sergeant Burns, Captain. I have Mrs. Earlwood.
Oh, all right.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Captain Kennelly?
Yes, this is Captain Kennelly. We have Liz here, Mrs. Earlwood.
Oh, you have? How is she? Is she all
I
right?
won't talk to her.
Yes, she seems all right.
Not all quiver?
Liz?
No, I told you no.
I'm sorry, Miss Earlwood. She won't come to the phone.
Why won't she?
Well, she just refuses, Mrs. Earlwood.
Well, tell her I'll be there. Tell her I love her. Tell her I'll take the next train. Her father, too.
All right. Goodbye.
The next train.
I couldn't talk. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I'm not ashamed or anything, but I couldn't talk to her.
She said to tell you that she loves you. She and your father are taking the next train.
They won't be here.
They told the captain they would.
No, they won't. All they'll do is send money. They always send money. They think it's the same thing. But it isn't. It really isn't the same. Is it?
No, Liz. There's a big difference. All the difference in the world.
'21st Precinct, Sergeant Burns. What do you mean you were robbed? Held up? Where this happened? Where? Did he have a gun? Well, there were two men. When was this? Just now? How long ago?
And so it goes. Around the clock, through the week, every day, every year. The police precinct in the city of New York is a flesh and blood merry-go-round. Anyone can catch the brass ring. Or the brass ring can catch anyone.
21st Precinct, a factual account of the way the police work in the world's largest city, is presented with the official cooperation of the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, an organization of more than 20,000 members of the Police Department, City of New York. Everett Sloan in the role of Captain Kennelly, Ken Lynch as Lieutenant King. Featured in tonight's cast were Jean Gillespie and Barbara Weeks, Wendell Holmes, Bill Zuckert, Bill Lipton, and Louis Van Ruten. Written and directed by Stanley Niss. Produced for CBS Radio by John Ives. Art Hanna speaking.
Forefathers went to trading post 3 long days' journey to get powder and shot.
Today I drive my Pontiac to town in a few minutes to see the latest Paris gown.
Is this new Pontiac equipped with freewheeling? Naturally. Has it synchro silent second? Of course. Is the body by Fisher? Certainly. Well, apparently Pontiac has all the latest developments of automotive engineering. Absolutely. That is why Pontiac is today the chief of values.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Police calling all cars, attention all cars, broadcast 6 regarding a holdup on Terminal Island just before noon. There's 2 bandits. Number 1, dark complexion, Mexican or Filipino, about 20 years of age, wearing a dark suit and gray cap. Number 2 is also dark, wearing a gray suit and gray cap. These men may be heading north toward Los Angeles. Keep your eyes open, boys. That's all. Rose and quick.
Mrs. Hazel Berg, living in Hollywood, is awakened at 2 a.m. by the ringing of her telephone.
Hello?
Goodbye, Hazel. This is Virginia. I've turned on the gas. I'm dying. But before I leave this world I hate so much, I wanted to say goodbye to you. Goodbye, dear.
Oh,
Hello? Hello, Virginia. Hello. Oh, operator, give me the police department. Quick, this is an emergency. Quick.
Also, police calling car 42, car 42. A woman committing suicide with gas at 7566 North Edinburgh in Hollywood.
That's us. Let's go. Less than a minute after the emergency call was received by the police department, radio policeman crashed down the door, gave Virginia first aid treatment, and saved her life. A few seconds longer, and it would have been too late. And because the police meet hundreds of emergencies like this every day, when seconds saved mean the difference between life and death, they specify Rio Grande cracked gasoline to power more police and emergency cars than any other brand. This emergency gasoline galvanizes into action at the touch of the starter. It accelerates so much faster than ordinary gasoline. Police and emergency car drivers in Los Angeles, Oakland, Berkeley, and many, many other cities, as well as deputy sheriffs in Maricopa County, Arizona, and many other counties where great distances must be covered at top speed, all swear by Rio Grande cracked gasoline as the fastest, most powerful, most efficient gasoline they have ever used. And every day, scores of motorists who try Rio Grande cracked gasoline for the first time get the thrill of police car performance in their own cars. And now it is our pleasure to introduce Chief of Detectives H.S. Seeger of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Seeger.
Good evening, friends. The law enforcement problems of the Los Angeles Police Department are complicated by the large colonies of foreign language-speaking people in our city. These people do not always understand the work of our police officers. When our department attempts to solve a crime occurring in one of these foreign colonies, we meet many difficulties, as you will hear tonight. It is hard to make our mission understood, and it is even harder for our police officers to understand the meager explanations in a foreign tongue. Despite these handicaps, there are mighty few unsolved crimes of any magnitude. Our detectives must merely work harder and longer tracking down clues. Eventually, we always get the culprits. Tonight's case is a typical of the disadvantages under which our police work. The description of the bandits was so vague it seemed almost impossible that we could even locate them. The story of the missing Mexican sheiks that you are now about to hear is typical of the almost superhuman diligence of your police officers in working out a successful conclusion to a case that had no clues.
It is late morning of February 5th, 1930. Mrs. Tokunago, as is her custom, visits her branch bank on Terminal Island in Los Angeles Harbor.
Good morning, Mr. Nago.
Oh, good morning, Priest.
What will it be this morning?
Oh, I think I take out money today. All money in bank.
Oh, today's your big banking day, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Today, many fishermen, many cannerymen, he pay off. He come eat at my extra special #1 restaurant.
And you cash the checks, is that it?
Yes, I think maybe I fix for them.
Well, I can see what you get out of it. Making a bank for those boys.
Oh, very fine man. Extra special. Come find Japanese fisherman. Come #1 American fellow. Give money. Spend money. Lots money in my humble restaurant.
Well, from what they tell me, they'd come anyway to eat your cooking.
Oh, you hear? I cook very good.
Well, that's what they tell me.
Oh, very fine. You come to my place. I fix you something nice. Oh, you like some special seaweed?
Seaweed? Well, not exactly.
Maybe so. You like fish. Oh, very good fish. He fix maybe so 8 months old. You like?
Well, I don't know, Mrs. Nago. You see, I'm not used to Oriental dishes. Well, here's your money. $1,000 in 10, 5, and $20 bills. Oh, yes. There's $100 worth of ones.
Oh, you count him. Is they all right?
Yes, I counted it. It's right, just $1,000.
Oh, very good.
Now, be careful of that money.
Oh, yes, I careful. I hold tight in hand.
All right. Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye. And you not forget, I made special #1 Japanese dinner for you.
All right, Mr. Nago. I'll drop in and see you someday.
As Mrs. Nago leaves the bank and walks down the street toward her chop suey restaurant, a sedan, which has been parked across the street, makes a U-turn, passes the little Japanese woman, and comes to a stop a few feet ahead of her. A young man gets out and stands with one foot on the running board, talking to his companion at the wheel as Mrs. Nago approaches him. Then, just as she is passing...
Give to me that money. Keep your mouth shut, you. Come on, give it to me.
Stop.
Get to the board.
Oh, stop. He's your money.
All right, come on, go. Come on.
17 cents for the registered letter, 20 cents in all.
Oh, Miss Dillon, stopping, ma'am.
Well, what's the matter, Mrs. Nago?
Oh, ma'am, still money. Oh, money, I have. You grab money and run away. You're stopping, please.
What's this? Someone stole your money?
Yes, all money in wealth. He got it. Take him from me. You stop him. You work for government. You're
Oh, but
stopping,
Mrs.
please.
Nago, I can't stop him. I only run the post office.
No, you work for Uncle Sam. You can't stop him. Please, stop.
Now, look, Mrs. Nago, pull yourself together. I can't do anything about it. But you run over to the fire engine house across the street.
Please?
Right over there, to the fire engine house. And you tell them, and they'll call the police.
They do?
Yes, now hurry.
Oh, thank you, Miss Dillon. Thank you. I'll go.
Oh, my boy. You never should have left an opening like that. 1, 2, 3. There, make that a king. There's 2 more. That wipes you off the board.
Yeah, I guess you got me that time.
Hey, look at that Jap woman streaking across the street. Oh, that truck nearly got her.
Oh, Mr. Fireman, you help, please. I find very great trouble.
What's that?
Oh, man, he grabbed money from my hand. He ran away fast in automobile.
What's that you say? You've been robbed?
Yes, I robbed. All money in well. I got no more money. Please, you're stopping. You make money come back.
How much money did he take?
Oh, maybe so I think $1,000.
$1,000? What did he look like?
Oh, he's dark. I think he maybe so Mexican.
How was he dressed?
Please?
What did he wear?
He wearing gray suit, cuff too, I think.
What kind of a car was it?
Please?
What kind of a car?
Oh, automobile.
Yes.
Maybe so bright green.
Anybody with him?
Yes, he have friend. Friend drive car very fast.
What did the friend look like?
Oh, he Mexican too, maybe. He wear dark suit, cuff too, I think.
And which way did he go?
Oh, down that way.
Toward the drawbridge.
You think you'll find him? You're stopping him, maybe so. Didn't like my money?
Well, ma'am, I'll do the best I can. Give me the drawbridge. Hello? Harry? Christ at the engine house. Say, Harry, a couple of Mexicans just pulled a strong-arm job down here and got away with $1,000. Lift that bridge of yours, will you? Yeah. Yeah, I want to hold up all the traffic from the island until the Dicks can get over there from San Pedro. Yeah, I'm going to ring them right away.
Captain A.L. Gentry, Detectives Evans and Dunphy answer Captain Price's call. Dunphy is detailed to keep a lookout in San Pedro for the car and occupants answering the Japanese woman's description. And Captain Gentry and Evans cross to Terminal Island on the ferry. At the open drawbridge, a long line of irate motorists greet them with honking horns as they are joined by Officers George Finn and C.H. Hidley from the Wilmington Station.
Hello, Captain. We've been waiting for you.
Hello, Finn. Got here as soon as we could.
Hey, come on, let's get going.
All right, you'll be moving in a minute.
It's about time.
Yeah, they're getting sort of restless back there, aren't
Well, a little delay won't hurt them any. Now, here's what I want you men to do.
they? Yes, sir.
We'll drop the bridge. Then sift this line of cars and trucks up. Get the license number and description of every car and the name and address of every occupant.
Yes, sir.
And if you find a light green sedan with 2 Mexicans or Filipinos in it, one dressed in a gray suit and the other in blue, both wearing caps, arrest them and bring them in.
Right.
I doubt if you'll find them in this lineup, though. The chances are they've abandoned the car. Evans and I are going to take a look around the island and see if we can locate it.
A along the piers where the great liners lie moored after their journeys from the Orient and the South Seas, and up and down the docks where scrubby tuna clippers sway at their moorings, Gentry and Evans search for the robbers. Their hunt leads them past warehouses that smell of cargoes from far places of the earth, and through streets where the fishermen are drying their nets, past canneries and past lumber freighters. Finally, as they turn into Seaside Avenue...
Say, Captain, this might be it.
What?
You see that sedan down there? Parked right in the middle of the street. Both front doors are swinging open.
Yes, sir. Say, we'll have a look at that.
No, that couldn't be it. The description is light green. This car's blue.
Oh, that don't mean nothing. That poor Jap woman was probably so scared she couldn't tell the difference between light green and dark blue. Come on, let's have a look.
Okay.
Looks like somebody left it in a hurry. Yeah, they've been running it fast. That radiator's hot. Who's it registered to?
Let's see. Now, you might know it's a rented car. California Auto Park in San Pedro.
I'm going to ask that woman over on the porch there if she saw anybody in the car.
Okay.
Pardon me, ma'am. Do you know who owns this car?
No sabe.
Did you see anybody leave it there?
Sí, dos hombres.
2 men, eh?
Sí.
What'd they look like? Were they Mexicans?
Maybe.
How were they dressed?
One, he wear gray suit. Other, he wear blue.
Well, did they wear caps?
Sí. You know him?
No. Do you?
No sabe.
Do they live around here?
No sabe.
Well, ever see him around before?
No sabe.
Well, that's good enough. Thanks. Well, Evans, your description tallies. I guess this is the buggy we're looking for.
Yeah, a lot of good it'll do. These mugs didn't give the right names when they rented it, I'll bet.
Well, we'll follow it up anyway. I'm going to phone the California Auto Park and see who rented this car. In the meantime, you'd better dust and photograph what fingerprints you can find.
Right.
The auto park manager informs Captain Gentry that the car was rented by one J. Colano of 8328 Street, San Pedro. On the way back from Terminal Island, the detectives check this address and discover that it's a school building. They return discouraged to the San Pedro police station to determine their line of action.
Well, we're pretty much up the well-known tree. Phony address, phony name without a doubt. And they didn't catch a shadow of a suspect while they were sifting at the drawbridge. Those birds must have abandoned the car and come over to town on the foot ferry. They're probably miles away by now.
You're forgetting one thing, Gentry.
What's that?
Those prints I photographed this afternoon.
Yeah, if the guys have ever been up before, well, they may help us.
Well, anyway, it's not as bad as it could be.
Huh.
Oh, hello, boys.
Hello, Sebastian. How's the Merchant's Patrol?
Okay. I dropped over from the island to get the latest dope on the crime.
Well, there isn't much dope. We found an abandoned car with some prints on it.
Well, that's something. I've been up at the bridge with the boys checking cars.
You didn't have to do that. You're paid to guard warehouses, not to do our work for us.
Well, I wanted to get in on the excitement.
Yeah, from all I hear, there wasn't any.
Not very much. But I thought I'd drop over and give you some dope I got on a hunch.
Still playing hunches, Sebastian?
Yeah. Sometimes they're a good idea. Well, I don't know whether this is worth a nickel to you, but a few days ago I saw a couple of Mexican sheiks over on the island that were dressed like the ones described in this holdup.
Yeah?
What were they doing?
Oh, they were innocent enough. Had a couple of girls with them. And they were taking pictures. But here's where the hunch comes in. Somehow they didn't look on the up and up to me, so I took the license number of the coupe they were driving. I got it here someplace. You want it?
Sure.
Here it is. Here. 5 Edward 1495. Wait a minute. I put down that number again while I was checking at the bridge. I'm sure I did, too. Wait till I look at this other list. Yes, sir, here it is. 5 Edward 1495. Chrysler coupe with 2 Mexican dames in it. Yeah, here's their name. Dolores Gonzalez driving, accompanied by Mona Martinez, both employed by the Gold Star Fish Cannery. And they live up on 8th Street near the school.
Yeah, we know all about that school. That's where this guy who rented the car lives.
Hey, you'd better hop up there to the girls' rooms and see if you can find them, Evans. Run over to Sacramento and get the registration on this license number.
Department of Motor Vehicles quickly replies to Captain Gentry's query with the information that license 5E1495 is registered to Dolores Gonzalez at an address on 3rd Street in San Francisco. In the meantime, Detective Evans is calling at the girl's lodging.
Yes,
You the landlady here?
I am.
I'm trying to locate Dolores Gonzalez and Mona Martinez. They live here, don't they?
Well, they did.
What do you mean?
They checked out a half hour ago.
They did?
That's what I said.
You know where they went?
No. And this ain't no information booth for their boyfriend.
Wait a minute. Don't shut that door in my face. I'm not a boyfriend of theirs. I'm a police officer.
A police officer? Oh, I always knew them two would get into some kind of trouble.
No, they're not in trouble. I want to question them.
Well, they ain't here. I told you that.
Are you sure of that?
Sure, I'm sure of it. Oh, here's the money they paid the rent with.
Here, just a minute. Let me see that dough. New $1 bills. 5 of them. I'll give you a $5 bill for them.
What for?
Because I want them.
Well, all right, I guess, if your 5's good money.
Well, if it isn't, you can always find me at the police station. Look here, you said something about the boyfriends of these two girls. Did they have many?
Oh, it wasn't the number. It was the kind there was.
What do you mean?
Oh, a couple of sheiks used to hang around here most of the time.
What'd they look like?
They was Mexican. One was sort of dark, and the other was lighter, with curly hair.
You don't have a picture of them, do you?
Why should I have a picture of them?
Well, I just wondered. Did the girls have any pictures of them?
They was always taking pictures. That Dolores girl had a roll of film in her hand today when she paid me the rent.
Oh, she did?
Yes, she did. Look here, I don't see where this is getting anybody, and I got a lot of work to do.
Quite all right. You've told me all I want to know.
Why, I haven't told you a thing.
That's what you think. Thanks very much. Good day.
Well, I declare.
The landlady's dollar bills bear the same serial numbers as the money issued to Mrs. Nargo. Every drugstore and Kodak store in San Pedro is searched for the roll of film. Every traffic policeman and motorcycle patrolman is furnished with the number of the Chrysler Coupe on their daily hot sheet of wanted cars. San Francisco police are asked to watch for the two girls in the coupe, and police in Ventura, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, every town between San Francisco and Los Angeles are requested to be on the lookout. The following morning, Lieutenant Barlow, police department fingerprint expert, sends his report to Captain Gentry, who is opening it just as Evans bursts into his office.
Well, here they are.
What?
Why, the missing pictures.
Where'd you get them?
Picked them up at the Green Cross drugstore. They were in the name of that Gonzalez girl.
Oh, that's swell. And say, look here. Barlow reports that the prints on that car are the same as those of Paul Jojola, alias J. Colano.
Well, I'll be. Used his old aliases when he rented the car.
Yep. He's on parole now after serving time for a robbery job in 1928.
Up to his old tricks again, eh?
Looks like it. And say, here's a kick.
Yeah?
Oh, this is good. His address entered on his police record is 832 8th Street. At school again. Well, let's have a look at those pictures.
Yeah, here they are. 2 women and 2 guys.
Well, so far so good. They fit the description. Yeah, here's the wavy-haired one wearing the gray suit and the darker one in the blue suit.
Yeah. And look at this. The wavy-haired one poses full face with one of the dames in this picture. And then in this one, he poses profile. That's as good as shooting him for the mug book. If we can find a mug on him, it'll be a cinch to identify him.
Well, one of these guys is Colano. The question is, which one?
Better get Barlow to send you his mug.
I'll do that right away. And you take these snaps over to the island and see if you can get an identification from the Japanese woman. Oh, yeah, and you'd better stop in on that landlady and the parking station manager. See if they recognize him, too.
Right.
Mrs. Nargo, the distraught victim of the robbery, is doubtful in her identification of the man in the blue suit, but is certain that the one in the gray suit is the same as the criminal who seized her money. The landlady identifies the curly-haired man as Dolores' boyfriend, and the darker one as Mona's sweetie. The manager of the auto renting park identifies the darker suspect as Colano, the man who rented the car. But the police are stopped when they try to identify the curly-haired man in the gray suit. Then, the next day, as traffic officer L.H. Bowden stands his watch at 6th and Spring in Los Angeles.
Hey, buddy. What do I
green coupe going down Spring.
Okay, jump on. What's up?
I wanted car and they didn't stop.
Well, you can't get through that traffic on 5th. Here we are.
Pull over to the curb.
Who, me?
Yes, you. It's a big idea of not stopping when I blew my whistle.
Were you whistling at me?
Yes, I was.
Dolores never stops when men whistle at her.
Well, she better stop when the man wears a badge. I gotta put you girls under arrest.
Arrest? What for?
Well, we stop with that light back there.
Yeah, I know. It ain't that. This car's wanted.
Wanted by who?
Wanted by the police.
Oh, but this is my car. It's not stolen. It's mine. Hey, we ain't done nothing.
I can't help that, girls. I gotta take you in.
Loudly protesting their innocence, the two girls are booked at Central Station and then transferred to San Pedro, where they are questioned.
Ah, come on, boys. What's the big idea of pinching Dolores and me? We ain't done nothing.
Nobody said you have, Mona. We just want to ask you some questions, that's all.
Yeah, and show you some pictures.
Picture? What kind of picture?
Oh, some friends of yours.
Some friends of mine. Who?
Did you ever see this guy before?
Him? No. Never saw him before in my life.
Sure of that? How come he's posing with you in this shot?
Oh, Say, what's the idea of copying our pictures,
Oh, you
huh?
can have them back after we're through with them.
Sure you can. But right now, we're interested in this guy in the picture with you. A pretty cheeky-looking boyfriend, ain't he, Mona?
Yeah, he's okay. But he ain't mine.
No? Whose is he?
Dolores. We just pose that way for fun.
Yeah? Who took the picture?
Dolores.
Sure it wasn't this guy.
Why, who's that?
Oh, come on, Mona. You wouldn't fool us now, would you?
Oh, I don't know who he is. I never saw him before.
Well, how about you, Dolores? We found a money order for $25 in your purse. Made out to a Julia Gonzalez in Puerto Rico and signed by Ignacio Gonzalez. Who is this Ignacio Gonzalez, Dolores? Your brother?
I haven't got any brothers. He's just a friend of mine.
How come you got the money order?
He asked me to send him.
How'd you pay for it? In new dollar bills?
What do you mean?
Maybe the dollar bill was taken from that poor Japanese woman a couple of days ago on the island, eh?
Say, what are you trying to pull off? I don't know nothing about no new dollar bills, so hold up.
Who is Ignacio Gonzalez, Dolores?
Just a friend of mine.
Is this a picture of him?
Madre, how did you...
Never mind how we got them. Who is this man in the gray suit? Is this Ignacio Gonzalez?
No, I tell you, I never saw him before.
But you must have. Why, here's a picture of your friend Mona and him, and Mona tells us you took the picture. Now, who is this chick, Dolores? What's his name?
Well, we call him Buddy. That's the only name we know. He's a friend. He's been visiting down here from San Francisco. But it ain't done nothing. You can't pin anything on him.
Convinced that the man in gray is the same Ignacio Gonzalez, whose name appears on the money order in Dolores' purse, Captain Gentry has Los Angeles and San Francisco check their mug books for the man. A couple of days later, the records from San Francisco arrive, and the police pictures checked with the snapshots. After 4 days, the girls are released for insufficient evidence and declare they are leaving for San Francisco at once. Gentry asks the San Francisco police to keep a lookout for the girls' coupe and also to watch the Gonzalez girls' address in the northern city. A week later, as detectives George P. Wafer and P.H. Keneally are cruising the waterfront in a radio car looking for stolen automobiles, they pick up Dolores and Mona parked in their Chrysler coupe. They arrest the girls on suspicion of robbery, send them to the station, and remain on watch near the Chrysler. Shortly, a big sedan comes up beside the coupe.
Hey, Dolores, what are you doing? You're sleeping?
Just a minute, boys. We want to talk to you.
Hey, stop. We're police officers.
Threading their way at breakneck speed through the narrow streets around the waterfront, the police car follows the fleeing sedan. So fast is the pace of the police car that it smashes into the rear fender of the sedan before it can be stopped.
Well, This baby won't run away anymore.
Dead?
Look at him. 4 bullets in the head.
Yeah, but there was 2. Where's the other one?
He must have jumped out as they hit the curb. Come on, he can't be far away.
In the wrecked car, Detectives Wafer and Keneally find the body of Kalain, apparently shot at the wheel as he sought to escape. But Ignacio Gonzalez had escaped in the darkness, and although police scoured the vicinity, he was not found. But so extensively did we advertise for him, and so persistent was our search that, nearly a year later, when he was admitted to a hospital in Stockton for treatment of a minor injury, he was promptly recognized and arrested. Gonzalez was a confirmed criminal who had been arrested 11 times in 5 years. This time he was convicted on a charge of first-degree robbery, and it is doubtful if the parole board will again release such a habitual offender from his present home in San Quentin Penitentiary.
Thank you, Chief Seeger. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Seeger has been talking tonight to an audience of millions of people, which includes many boys and girls who are anxious to help the police departments of their cities enforce the laws and capture criminals. The Rio Grande Junior Police Department has enrolled hundreds of thousands of these boys and girls on the side of law and order. Rio Grande supplies police badges, detective microscopes, fingerprint outfits, and other detective and G-man paraphernalia free to all members. We invite every boy and girl listening tonight to join. See the Rio Grande dealer in your neighborhood and ask how you can get your detective outfit free. And parents, bring your youngsters with you when you drive in for Rio Grande cracked gasoline. While they're enrolling for crime prevention, why don't you enroll for accident prevention? Now is the time to lubricate for safety, and your Rio Grande dealer is equipped to give your car scientific Sinclair lubrication. This is entirely different from the ordinary grease job you usually get. Sinclair engineers have worked with the manufacturers of your car, of every car, and both have agreed upon a certain Sinclair oil or lubricant for every moving part. Sinclair lubrication is the kind your car maker specifies. Sinclair makes over 120 different oils and greases to ensure that your car is scientifically and correctly lubricated. All Rio Grande cracked gasoline dealers are equipped and trained to give your car Sinclair scientific lubrication, the kind that prevents accidents.
Please, calling all cars, attention all cars. The cancellation broadcast 6. Suspects described in this broadcast are now in custody. That's all. Roll concluded.
Frederick Lindsley bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Pepsi Cola, it's the pot, 12 ounces, that Cola is twice as much more nickel too. Pepsi Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
10 p.m. BULOVA, Boulevard Watch Time. Men, here's exceptional value. The handsomely streamlined Boulevard Alden, 15 jewels, extremely dependable. Only $24.75. WEAF, New York.
Washington, calling Counter Spy. Washington, calling Counter Spy.
Harding, Counter Spy, calling Washington. Harding, Counter Spy, calling Calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Phillips H. Lord's Counter Spy. Counter Spy is dedicated to all government undercover men, that invisible army which protects our men on the fighting front, in our industries and secrets on the home front. Imagine chief counter spy of them all as David Harding. One of the methods enemy spies have been using recently to enter the country is to try and fly over our borders at night and drop by parachute in some wild section of a border state. In old Mexico, way back in the sandy hills, is a ranch on which is a modern airplane. The ranch is about 90 miles south of Juarez and is well hidden in the hills. Tonight, a Gestapo agent has arrived at the Mexican ranch from where he'll be flown over the border and dropped into Texas. The airplane has been pushed out and is about to take off from the ranch.
We are ready to take off for the Texas border, Herr Burger.
Take the suitcase. Put it in the cockpit.
Senor Burger!
Yeah?
Senor Burger!
Yeah, what is it, Herr?
Do not go yet.
Why not?
A very unusual thing has just happened, senor.
Yeah.
No one ever comes this far from the main road, but at the ranch house has just arrived Councilor Carlos Costello.
Costello?
He is taking a long trip by horseback for his health, si, senor.
Make him leave. We do not want this place discovered.
Oh, but I have a very interesting thought.
So?
Suppose I tell him you are wealthy Americans down here with your plane. You are going to take a little ride under the moon in the sky. I invite him to go with you.
Yeah?
When you cross the border, you will fly very low. It will be very unfortunate, but his feet and hands will be tied very tight. The door of the airplane will open. He will fall out. He will be killed. You will find him with his hands and feet tied and dead on American soil.
Aha. I see.
There will be quite a strain between the Mexican and the United States governments. A prominent government official murdered on American soil.
Yeah, hello. It is a good thought. When they picked you to run this ranch, they picked the right man.
You like my little idea, huh?
The Gestapo shall hear about this. You shall be rewarded.
Please, not by medals. I prefer my reward in money.
Go, hello. Invite the official to join us. Then we will see what happens. We are so glad you could take this little flight with us, Counselor.
Ah, so beautiful. I was never in an airplane at night. With the moon. It is so romantic.
You are aware, Counselor, we have crossed the border between Mexico and the United States?
No. Is it not against the law?
Oh, I am sure no one will object while we have such a distinguished gentleman of the Mexican government.
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, you did the help, Burger. Yes, Hans. Tie his feet while I tie his hands.
Jawohl. Who are you?
The Gestapo, if you would like to know.
Right now. Why are you kidnapping me?
They are going to open the door of the plane, and you are going to fall out.
No, you cannot.
You will be found on American soil, and a very delicate international situation should result.
You are a fool. All my bones will be broken. They will know I was thrown from an airplane.
The Gestapo is not so stupid. We will fly very low, so you will not be killed. But your body will not be mangled either. Drop as low as you can. Soon Mexico, like the United States, will belong to Germany. And you will be glad that you are dead.
You pig!
Lower! Now, Counselor, I shall open the door, and we will make ready for your big experience.
Dios omnipotente, guardadme. Libradme de estos hombres.
What are you doing? Praying? You fool.
I cannot fight. I'm tired. Therefore, I must pray.
Pray? To whom? Fool. Superstition.
Jesus Santísimo, guardad mi alma. En ti es mi salvación.
I will not hear such dribble. There are no enough hands. Here, while you have a crayon in your hand, give me that.
Please, senor. Give me a chance to leave.
Now I shall push you through the door. Scream. Holla, go on. Oh. He falls. So, here's it. Put the plane back on the course.
Hello.
Proceed.
This is Harding speaking. I'm in the testing laboratory of the Walker Optical Company. In an hour, I shall take a plane for Washington. Set up my appointment for me at 3 o'clock with Colonel Marvin. Tell him urgent. Emergency.
Yes, sir.
You wish me to continue, Mr. Harding?
Yes, Mr. Walker. And this is a grave emergency. Now, those light bulbs you have lined up over there, are they lit now?
Yes. But naturally, as they are high-frequency lights, you cannot see them with your naked eye.
Oh, I see.
You cannot see the light, Mr. Harding, unless you are wearing this green hypie lens in your glasses. This is a 5-tray one.
Oh.
Now, look through it.
All right. Yes. Yes, I can see the left light's burning, but I can't tell whether the one on the right is burning or not.
Well, you would need another specially colored lens to see that one.
Oh.
In other words, Mr. Harding, these high-frequency lights can be burning, but you cannot see them unless you are wearing specially prepared lenses.
Well, Mr. Walker, as I explained to you, this is a case of great emergency. It involves an international incident with Mexico.
I see.
How soon could you make me 12 pairs of each of these two different lenses?
Why, I believe by 8 in the morning, Mr. Harding.
Good. I'll have a Navy plane waiting off Pier 3 and a government car here to deliver them to the plane at 8 sharp in the morning. Right now, I'm going to fly to Washington.
What can I do for you, Mr. Harding?
Well, Colonel Marvin, we've known for some time that certain Gestapo agents have been getting into this country by flying over the border from a ranch in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're landing in a deserted section of Texas, where they usually stay for several days before leaving for different parts of the United States.
In other words, you've allowed them to enter this way because you know how they're entering. And that's better than stopping this route and forcing them to find some other method, which may take you months to discover. Is that it?
Exactly, Colonel.
Harding, you know we'll do anything possible to help you.
Now, Colonel, tomorrow night I'd like to have about 8 Army planes from Field A-46 fly all over the state of Texas and into Louisiana. Now, I'll be at field headquarters in Texas with a map to get their reports.
What information are you looking for, Harding?
Well, now, one house which we recently raided had up the chimney a high-frequency light. Now, that light can't be seen at night when you're flying over the house unless you have a certain colored lens in your glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sure that there are a certain few houses for, let's say, 200 miles in Texas which have these lights hidden up the chimney.
I see.
Now, the pilot who's flying these foreign agents in wears these special colored glasses. He can see these high-frequency lights placed in the chimneys, and these help keep him on his course.
And you want to locate a plane ready to leave in 2 hours, Harding. And I'll fly down with you to see that you have everything you need.
Thank you, sir. Now, Colonel, if we can have the houses which have these invisible lights spotted from the air, we'll know the exact route the plane's flying, which brings in these spies, right to the ranch where they land and stay for a few days. When that time comes, we'll be able to make a mass raid.
I see, yes. But, Harding, what are we doing about that prominent Mexican official found tied and murdered on American soil? That's a very embarrassing situation.
Well, Colonel, there's something about that murder that I can't tell as yet. I want to check certain additional facts before I speak.
All right, Harding. You're doing a wonderful job, and I'll see that 8 Army planes will be flying over the designated section of Texas tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir.
Just look at this chart, Mr. Harding. That last report mentioned this house. Southwest, square 411.
Let me have that other chart, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, notice how this route's beginning to shape up.
42B calling. 42C calling 4X.
Come in.
I'm flying over Sandville. Check your chart. Chart square TS4. Chart square TS4.
Here's the square he's talking about, Kelly, this square.
Northeast beam, intersection, main highway, 2 miles from corner. Can you locate on your chart?
Yes. This house right here.
42P. We have located it.
42P signing off.
I've got that marked. Your signal light's on, Kelly. The upper frequency.
Yes, sir.
42R calling. 42R calling.
Come in, 42R. Come in, 42R.
Church Square, 6 CS6, northeast corner, intersection, Military Highway, house in Court of Road.
I've got that one, too. It's right here.
Cross-check with field light. Southeast, due west. That's all. 42R signing off.
Kelly, these houses being spotted are on a perfectly straight line from the border right to the ranch we've been suspecting. Now, tomorrow night, we'll fly this route, check all of the houses we're marking, and go right to their landing field. Now, bring a short wave set along with you in your suitcase.
We've seen every light the pilots reported last night, Mr. Harding.
As we should spot that ranch and their landing field most any minute.
Yes, sir.
Kelly, I'm going to tell you something that nobody else knows.
It sounds plenty serious, Mr. Harding.
You know that high Mexican official found murdered on American soil?
Yes, sir.
Well, he was murdered by members of this spy ring we're after right now.
You mean they got him in Mexico, flew him over the border, and dropped him from a plane?
Yes. But that isn't all. It wasn't the body of a high Mexican official.
But his papers. He was identified.
I did the identifying.
Oh. And who was it?
It was one of our own counter spies, Kelly. Tado Zales.
Tado?
Yes. I was working with the Mexican authorities. We suspected this Mexican ranch, so the Mexican consular was taken into our confidence. He went into hiding for a few days. And Tado, posing as a counselor, visited the ranch. Well, he was evidently surprised by them and dropped out of a plane.
Good Lord. But how do you know he was dropped from a plane, Mr. Harding?
The old trick. In the scuffle, he got a pencil from his vest and hid it in the palm of his hand. While his hands were tied together, he was able to write on the palm of one hand the word air.
There's the landing field, Mr. Harding.
Yes, there's the large ranch house, the two barns.
It's barren, all right. Tado. Murder.
We'll land, and I'll have the pilot take off immediately. Oh, Lieutenant, land as far from the house as you can. We'll hide the suitcase with a short wave set out in the field. Perhaps they won't hear us land. We can get to the house before they know we're here.
What do you want? Who are you?
BR2. We want to stay a couple of days. My name's Mr. David. This is Mr. Kelly.
Where did you come from?
Hacienda Pedro, over the border. We've been traveling a long time. We want to rest a day and then go on.
Yes. I have a room for you. You can have food here, too.
Yeah. Are you empty now, or do you have any more guests?
We have an Italian and a Japanese. I did not want to take him in, but we are under orders.
And your husband?
He is out in the barn. You will meet him when he comes in.
Is the Japanese of the Black Dragons?
Yes.
And the Italian of the Ovra?
Yes.
Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
Now, I ask, for one must be most careful in our work, do you expect any more guests tonight?
Not for several days. You wish to go up to your room now?
Just to clean up. Then I think I'll take a walk around and get a look at things.
After you have washed, you will find my husband in the barn. You will again identify yourself to him.
Calling 42B. Calling 42B. Calling 42B.
Come in.
Calling from field at location specified. Locate for me immediately. German couple, about 60. One couple opposed to Nazi rule. Check my file numbers for names of couples already examined. Fly this couple to our present location. 11:30 tomorrow night. Check.
Report sufficient. 42B off.
That is all. All right, Kelly. Close the case. Slip under the bushes again.
Yes, sir. That Nazi woman in there was a brutal-looking character.
Now, let's get right back to the house. I don't want them to notice that we've been gone too long.
What did you think of her husband?
I'll answer that a little later. If I'm not mistaken, I've got a complete report on him in Washington.
A fanatic, isn't he?
Aren't they all? Would they be Nazis if they weren't?
Well, if you weren't in on the inside of things, though, you could stop at the ranch and not guess anything was wrong.
Oh, yes, they're clever.
What was that?
Quick, get back to the house. What's the matter? What's going on?
Where is everybody?
I heard footsteps upstairs. Let's get up there. Where are you?
What do you want?
Oh.
I was in my room at the other end of the house. I heard a scream from this room. I come running.
This Italian and I got here just at the same time.
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
You'd better fix your collar. Looks like someone had grabbed it and torn the button off.
Here comes my husband. He will be very angry.
Where were you, may I ask, when this happened? And the other gentleman?
We were walking toward the house. We heard the scream. We ran in here as quickly as possible.
Very pleasant alibi.
What has happened? Why did one of you scream like that? Why are you all standing there looking at... Oh, I see.
He was evidently stabbed in the back while he was sleeping.
I'm not angry because the Japanese is killed. I hate them. But he should have been killed somewhere else. Who did it?
None of us seems to know.
Did you?
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
And you?
I would not have done it inside the house, you know that.
You too?
No. Oh, we were outside, walking toward the house.
You left me 20 minutes ago. Where have you been since? Why did you not come right back to the house?
Because we were all cramped up from traveling. We wanted to stretch our legs, take a little walk.
So. There are so many ways it could have been done to leave no telltale. The river, out of a plane.
Yes, like possibly you would do with a Mexican.
Why do you say that?
Hello told me of it. The Hacienda Pedro in Mexico. They all thought it very clever.
That man Hello talks too much. Here. Let me get him up on my shoulder. I will take him out and bury him in the field.
Gladly.
There. Come with me. We will bury him to leave no traces.
I will go with you and hold a lantern. Do you two wish to come?
Not interested, thank you. Kelly, will you do me one favor?
What, sir?
Kick me just as hard as you can.
Why?
Well, the minute I saw that Jap had been murdered, by habit and instinct, I started to ask questions. I knew the Italian had killed him. And all I'd have had to do was to ask about 3 more pointed questions, and there'd have been plenty of trouble.
Come to think of it, you're right. You didn't think the woman killed the Jap spy?
I think they were all in on it. It was planned before we got here.
But that teaser you put out, Mr. Harding, you got results, didn't you?
Yes, he fell for it. He's the one who thought Zollish was a Mexican official and threw him out of the plane.
What's our next move?
Just sit tight until the Army plane arrives at 11:30 tomorrow night.
Mr. Harding, that's the Army plane, all right.
Yeah.
Take these glasses. It's signaling with the invisible light. Just to the right of the moon, see?
Yeah, good. Good. Now we've got to work fast while the plane's landing. The German couple and the Italian are in the sitting room. Let's go in.
And you will leave?
I will be leaving in the morning.
I've already American money, which I will supply with.
If you two gentlemen don't mind my intruding, and if it's all right with you, madam, I'm going to have to ask you all to get your hands up.
Don't move.
We both have you covered. You won't have to do much persuading for me to put a bullet right through you.
Signor, vi prego. Per carità, io non sono nemico. Per l'amore di Dio.
You whimpering fool.
We don't operate like your Gestapo, Burger. We give them a chance according to our laws.
Why do you call me Burger? That is not my name.
It's the name I have you listed by in Washington. You forget your activities in the Boone before the war broke out. And incidentally, the Mexican government official you threw from the plane wasn't the Mexican consular.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was an American counter-spy, one of my assistants, posing as a consular. I'll promise you, Burger, you're going to pay for that, and pay plenty.
They will kill us. Signor, I'll give you money. I'll tell you all I know.
Enough of that. An Army plane's just landed outside. Now march out that door to the plane. And keep your hands up.
Mr. Harding, that's a sweet old couple the plane brought down.
Yeah. Motherly-looking soul, isn't she?
You wouldn't think that this couple who just arrived and the other couple who we took out to the plane were both German.
Well, there are some Germans who are not Nazis. Well, I'll let them finish looking around the house. And we'll leave in the Army plane with those others we're taking with us.
Well, I believe we have seen it all, Mr. Harding.
It is quite a place.
Now, do you two feel that you can live here and pretend to be Nazis? And run this place for the spies who come over?
Yeah, Mama is a great actress when she needs to be.
And so is Papa. I will run the house, and he will look after the outside and the little radio station to send you the information.
Good. Now, as soon as a spy arrives, we shall want his complete description. Something that he's touched so we can get his fingerprints. Knowledge of where he's going, and any information about what he has in his bag.
We shall see you have it all, eh, Papa?
We shall do everything. We shall give our lives to see the Nazis crushed and wiped off the face of this earth.
You two must have had a terrible experience from the report.
Oh, we lived just outside of Hamburg. We were happy. And our two boys had graduated and were the ministers of the German Lutheran Church. It was in the middle of the night.
Oh, Papa.
The Gestapo broke in the front door and dragged our two boys out of bed. Then they came and got Mama and me.
You forgot.
They beat our boys because they were ministers of the church. They dragged them outside.
They tied our boys to the fence. They made us watch.
The Gestapo stepped back and took aim and shot them. Our youngest boy, Hans, he did not die. So the leader of the Gestapo put a pistol to his head, spit at him, and fired. The leader of the Gestapo tore off the crucifix that Hans wore around his neck. He threw it on the ground, stepped on it. Then he raised his arm at the Nazi salute and said, Heil Hitler, the Führer will rule the world. We left Germany, Mama and me. It took us 4 months to escape across the border, but we did it. Now we are in this country. God bless it.
Then you know what it means to have the Nazis rule. Wait, I hear footsteps. Somebody's coming. Careful now, there may be trouble.
Yeah? Come in.
I am a traveler, X4 from Mexico, from the Hacienda Pedro.
You have arrived at the right place, X4.
Good. Our plane was forced down. I have had to come the last 100 miles by motorcycle. Heil Hitler! The Führer will rule the world.
The Führer will rule the world. I remember. I shall show you to your room.
Who are these men?
We don't ask questions like that around here.
Yes, you are right. Take my bag.
Yeah. Mama, bring a light from the mantel. We will show this gentleman to his room.
Yeah, Papa?
This way, please.
I don't think, Kelly, that we're needed here anymore.
No.
Let's go to the plane.
Look how bright the stars are tonight, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, Kelly. Well, they're one of the things in this world that are permanent. Permanent like the faith of Christian people. Well, at the time of the Crusaders, barbarians tried to crush faith from the face of the earth. But the Christians rose up and pushed those hordes right back into the sea. Well, the great Christian army has risen again, and Nazism will be wiped from the face of the earth.
Spread a great army of counter-spies, men whose names may never be known or their deeds ever revealed. But 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, these counter-spies are the guardians of our home front. Counter-Spy will not be heard next week, June 29th. Starting Monday night, July 6th, Counter-Spy, a Philip H. Lord production, will be presented at a much more convenient time. 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Wartime, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 6 to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 to 5:30 p.m. in the Pacific Time Zone. Tell your friends. Invite them to listen to these exciting dramatized cases. Make it a date for Monday, July 6th. At the new hour. Join the 10% Club, whose membership is composed of all patriotic Americans who are voluntarily putting 10% of their incomes regularly into war bonds and stamps. Here's all you have to do to become a member. Arrange to buy war bonds on a regular basis to the extent of 10% or more of your present income. Or authorize your employer to deduct 10% or more from your regular salary or wage check. Your government is making special efforts to have everyone a member of the 10% Club. Join today. Counter-Spy originated in New York. You are listening to the Blue Network.
To make every day more enjoyable, treat yourself often to refreshing, delicious Wrigley Spearmint Chewing Gum. Here's a taste treat you can enjoy indoors, outdoors, at work, or at play. The cool, long-lasting mint flavor refreshes you. The smooth, steady chewing helps keep you fresh and alert. Adds enjoyment to whatever you're doing. Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Refreshing, delicious.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
The FBI in Peace and War, ordinarily heard at this time throughout the year, is taking its usual summer vacation and will return to CBS 5 weeks from tonight on September 1st.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway, it's an enchanted island or a prison, a crazy happy dance, or a funeral march in blues time. It's a sorcerer's palace with golden mirrors and jeweled fountains, or it's a wailing wall corroded with pain. Call it anything you want. It's My Beat. One of the ways to get on My Beat is to infiltrate through the grim lines of people trying to buy tickets to South Pacific. Those people are going to mutiny someday. It was about 9 in the morning, and a good thing happened to me. The good thing was a kid named Paul Thomas. A sweet kid, a gentle kid. A kid who'd wrapped himself in iron to stall off the pain so many people handed to him for free.
Mr. Clover, could I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, Paul. Sure. Any place, any time.
How about in the lobby here?
Okay, lobby it is. Well, I'm sure glad to see you, Paul. Been a long time.
Not so long, Mr. Clover. It's only 5-6 months since you got me that job. Maybe 7 months since you caught me breaking into a store.
Who remembers what happened 7 months ago? How's the job, Paul? How's it working out?
Mr. Arcane's been treating me fine. He's even had me bonded so I could deliver all that jewelry and stuff.
I bet your folks are proud.
Yeah, they're real proud, Mr. Clover.
I've been meaning to get up to Harlem to visit them. Your mother's a fine woman, Paul. Give her my best.
I'll do that, Mr. Clover. She keeps asking about you.
Paul, it's a good thing to see you the way you are.
I'm in trouble, Mr. Clover. I think I'm in big trouble.
Oh? You want to tell me about it here? Well, we could go someplace and get a quiet cup of coffee.
I better tell you about it fast, Mr. Clover. A couple of days ago, they came...
Danny Clover, how's Broadway's grabber boy? How's the finest of the finest,
Oh, hi, Kirk.
Am I interrupting something, Danny? The boy won't mind being interrupted, will you, boy?
Maybe I mind, Kirk.
Oh, no offense, Danny. Come on, ask me how I am. Ask me how I've been doing.
How are you? How you been doing?
Oh, great. Very, very great, Danny. Yes, sir. Don't I rate an introduction to the boy, Danny?
Paul, this is Jerry Kirk, a private investigator. Paul Thomas, Jerry Kirk.
Hi, Mr. Kirk.
Danny, you don't keep up. A smart detective like you should keep up. I'm not a private eye anymore.
No? Well, so long, Kirk. See you around.
No, I'm not a private eye anymore. I'm in the plush, Danny. Plush office, plush stipend, furnished by Acme Insurance Company. I investigate insurance losses for them. Oh, it's a lot easier than breaking down doors to hall apartments.
But not so much fun, huh, Kirk?
More, Danny, more. It even gives me the price of a couple of tickets to South Pacific here. But how about you, Danny? You still hitting the triple features in the grind houses, Danny?
Goodbye, Kirk.
Yeah, it's been swell seeing you, Danny.
I'm sorry about him, Paul. Now, tell me what's on your mind.
I can, Mr. Clover. I got to get to work. I'm late.
Paul, come back here. That's how the day began, with the kids starting to tell me of big trouble and then running away. It was about 5 when Paul's big trouble started to catch up with me. A patrolman leaned out of a squad car and handed me a slip of paper. J. Arcarian, the paper said. It said the Paramount Building, and at the bottom it said urgent. I'd been there before. J. Arcarian, lapidary and dealer in precious gems, was on the 14th floor. You went through a door and past the beam of an electric eye and waded through a carpet to a desk and an olive-skinned girl with tight black hair. You gave your name and you got nodded past another beam and some carved oriental wall hangings to a young man. Morning coat cut to hide the lines of his shoulder holster, and sneer cut to fit the scar that ran from his eye to the corner of his mouth. Then a chaperone hiked through another doorway. And there he was, J. Arcarian, impeccable in ascot, striped pants, and a Legion of Honor ribbon in his satin lapel. He had another thing, a guest.
I asked Mr. Jerry Kirk to be with us, Lieutenant Clover, because his interests lie in the same direction as ours.
Hiya, Kirk. What's all this about?
Mr. Arcarian will tell you, Danny.
Sit down, Lieutenant.
What do you want to see me about, Mr. Arcarian?
About the boy you asked me to hire. About Paul Thomas.
You know Paul Thomas, don't you, Danny?
What about Paul Thomas?
Mr. Arcarian is a polite man, Danny. He's trying to tell you the kid absconded with an awful lot of jewelry.
Please. This matter is very dolorous to me.
$100,000 worth, Danny.
How about letting Mr. Arcarian tell it his way, huh, Kirk?
I was just phrasing it neatly. $100,000, Danny.
Right now, you just listen, Kirk. What did Paul Thomas do, Mr. Arcarian?
He failed to deliver a consignment. Failed to let me know the reason why. He has been gone since this morning. Disappeared.
Like a puff of smoke, huh, Mr. Arcarian? That's what you said?
They assign a bright eye like you to this, Kirk?
Like me, Danny.
Mr. Jerry Kirk is from the insurance company. In a matter like this, one thinks are insured.
In a case like this, one also thinks of how maybe Paul got slugged. One also thinks he could have been robbed, Mr. Arcarian. Paul Thomas turns up in an alley, Kirk. Slugged. A bet?
Yeah, sure. I know human nature, Danny. He's gone a long way with those rocks. Absconded. He's stolen.
In a matter like this, the amount is not a pittance, Lieutenant. $100,000 worth of first water gems, jewel cases, settings.
Got a list of what's missing?
Right here. You see? It makes not an inconsiderable...
Yeah, it's not inconsiderable.
It is very dolorous, Lieutenant. You'll get them back?
Dolorous means it can make you cry. But Alarcarian's Dolorous was different from mine. His was $100,000 he'd lost. Mine was a boy named Paul Thomas that maybe I'd lost. But it was still only a maybe. I had two things to do. Turn the list of missing jewels into headquarters, which I did, then call it Paul's home in Harlem. Harlem is a guilt and a scar and a wound. And the wound is a tenement lighted by kerosene lamps. A tenement with barred windows through which you can watch the moonlight darting out on the backs of hungry rats. And Harlem is a place of quiet laughter that stops when it sees you walking up the stairs to the one room in which Paul's family of 5 lived.
Yes? Oh, it's Mr. Clover.
Hi, Miss Thomas.
I hardly expected to. Please forgive the way I look.
Oh, you look fine, Mrs. Thomas. Fine. May I come in?
Why, of course. Of course. The children are outside playing.
That's just as well, Mrs. Thomas. I want to talk to you.
Please sit down, Mr. Clover.
Shoot.
Is it about Paul?
Why did you see him last, Mrs. Thomas?
This morning. He stopped by on his way to work. Is there anything...
He doesn't live here anymore?
No, Mr. Clover. Paul's a man now, and he needs a place of his own.
Where is it, Mrs. Thomas?
Is my boy in trouble, Mr. Clover?
Well, we don't know. I don't think so, but I have to be sure. Where's his place, Mrs. Thomas?
It's a rooming house on 137th Street, 26 East. It's clean. You can actually see the sun. Paul couldn't do anything wrong. Not anymore, Mr. Clover. Paul's good. He's good.
He hasn't been by here tonight.
No, but that doesn't mean anything. Lots of times he doesn't come by at night, but he'll be here in the morning. He's always here for breakfast in the morning.
Well, I think I'll run over to that address you gave me, Mrs. Thomas. I'm sorry I can't stay and visit with you.
You'll let me know about my boy, Mr. Clover. Whatever way it is, you let me know.
It'll be all right, Mrs. Thomas. It has to be all right. Outside, it was 1 block north and 2 to my left of the subway station at 125th and Lenox. In those 3 blocks, you could feel the breeze from the East River fighting a losing battle with the heat. But it wasn't the heat that stopped me. It was Squad Car 15, Patrolman Florio at the controls. Not bad, Florio. 3-point landing.
Hi, Lieutenant. Come on, get in.
Thanks. You headed uptown?
Well, that depends, Lieutenant. Wherever you say.
Uptown.
You better call headquarters first. I've been cruising looking for you. Headquarters said you were in Harlem.
Yeah, call them, Florio.
Sure. Patrol Car 15 calling headquarters. Come in. Patrol Car 15 calling headquarters.
Headquarters receiving Patrol Car 15. Go ahead, 15.
I take it, Danny.
Yeah. Danny Clover speaking.
Danny, Tartaglia speaking. About that Alarcarian robbery. Guy named Jerry Kirk called you.
Yeah?
Said he wanted you there when he took Paul Thomas.
Oh, where's all this taking place?
137th Street, a condemned tenement, 3 houses beneath the northeast corner on Lenox. 10 o'clock, the guy said.
That's right now, Tartaglia. Thanks. Let's go, Florio. You heard the man.
Right.
Florio.
Yeah, Lieutenant?
You're only giving me a lift down the block. Turn off that siren, huh?
Hello, Danny. Glad you showed.
Headquarters said you had Paul. You got him, Kirk?
He's in that tenement, Danny.
But he materialized out of that puff of smoke? How do you know he's in there?
Look, Danny, a guy steals $100,000 worth of jewelry. It's hot. He can't get rid of it. So he makes a deal with the insurance company. The deal Paul made was for $15,000.
He got in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. He said meet him here. So I got in touch with you. I'm double-crossing him, Danny. I called in the cops. You wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, let's go in. And Kirk, keep your gun in your pocket.
Danny, you know I seldom carry a gun, and tonight's one occasion when I don't.
Come on.
Hey, it's pretty dark. Lucky I brought a flash. Paul Thomas!
Let me handle it, Kirk. Paul, it's Danny Clover. Paul! Maybe he isn't here, Kirk.
He's here. That sound came from down in the basement.
Hey, Kirk, somebody's shooting downstairs and not at us.
Yes, and somebody's taking a pound or two.
Let's get him.
Don't you think it's time you got out your gun, Danny?
Yeah, it's all changed now. Hey, shine your light over there.
Where?
Back of the staircase.
Yeah. Hey, Danny. A body. Danny, look, he's got a gun.
Paul.
He's dead, Danny. Your boy's dead.
Why was he killed?
He was a bad boy, Danny. A bad boy with bad company, and the company just took a powder. How do you like your boy now, Danny?
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Casey, crime photographer, finds an innocent-eyed young woman riding a murder-go-round tonight. As he joins her, his girlfriend, reporter Ann Williams, and Ethelbert, the magnificent bartender, caution him to go slow. For a merry ride with murder, join Casey and his pals tonight. And also be around for Second Class Passenger, another thrilling study in Escape. Crime Photographer and Escape are Thursday night features of most of these same CBS stations. Now, back to Broadway's My Beat.
One thing about Broadway, you can become a name overnight. All you have to do is have 3 current wives or ride 4 winners in a row. Or you can do it the way Paul Thomas did. Get caught up in a $100,000 jewel theft. Keep your mouth shut about it by being found dead in a Harlem tenement. Not that Paul Thomas would make much of a splash, but he would make a fast 30-second conversation piece over cheesecake and coffee. A cop uses up the night begging, pleading, grubbing for a break in a murder case. Then he goes home and begs for sleep. And in the morning he goes back to his office at headquarters and starts all over again. And that's where it broke. Come in. Come in. Come in.
Danny, open your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
You open them, I'm tired.
I got something on the Paul Thomas case.
What?
Yeah, see? You opened your eyes all by yourself. It's not hard, is it, Danny?
I could close yours just as easy. What do you got?
Well, one of the Arakarian jewels showed up at a pawn shop.
When?
10:30 last night.
10:30. That was after Paul's murder. How come you wait till now to give it to me?
Easy, Danny. Take it easy.
All right, but how come?
Larry of Larry's Pawn Shops Limited just phoned it in. Says he didn't get our list till 10 this morning.
Larry's, huh? Give me a squad car, Tartaglia. I'll pick it up front.
Okay. Danny.
Yeah?
I know what this means to you. Sorry I kidded.
Oh, that's okay, Sergeant. It's okay. But get that squad car, huh?
Danny, boy. Danny, you. This is quite an honor.
Hi, Larry.
Hi. I could have saved you the trip if you just called me.
You needed the air. Look here, Larry. What do you got?
Danny, do you mind stepping in the back room? I'm trying to close a deal. Sometimes it embarrasses my clientele to see me consorting with a detective.
Ain't it a shame? Give it to me, Larry, and quick.
Oh, Danny, this isn't like you.
You want me to show you what I can really be like?
Okay, Danny. Okay, I'll get it for you. Think it over, mister. I'll be right with you. Here it is, Danny. Here you see? This diamond ring matches up exactly with the one on the Arcarian list you boys sent. If I say so myself, it's a beauty.
Yeah, but who pawned it?
It's on the ticket. A girl named Ellen West lives at this address on 115th Street. At least that's the name of the address she gave me.
You know where to send it. Send the ring.
It hurts me to part with it. Isn't it polite the way I cooperate with you boys, Danny? You'll remember it, won't you?
Sure. By the way, what did you give the girl for the ring?
It's worth $2,000. I gave her $600.
Can't hear you, Larry. How much?
$600.
Still can't hear.
It was worth $2,000. I gave her $600. Oh, Danny, I could kill you. Hey, mister, you didn't hear what I said. I was just kidding. Pay no attention. I didn't mean it. I'm ready to offer you a little more.
dealer's name might be Ellen West lived in a street that might have been anywhere. Could have been a market street in the slums of Madrid or Rome or Athens or New Orleans. It could have been anywhere. Right now it was under the bridge of the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. Right now it was a street where Paul's murderer might be waiting in a dark room behind a locked door, waiting for a knock that had to come.
Yes? Who is it?
The police. Open up.
Please. Why you come here? I haven't done anything.
Are you Ellen West?
That's right. That's my name. How you know my name? I don't know you.
I'm Danny Clover, Ellen. Broadway Special Detail. I'd like to ask you some questions.
Mr. Danny Clover.
Huh?
Paul told me a lot about you. Please come in, Mr. Clover.
Thanks. You knew Paul Thomas?
I knew him. I knew him better than anybody. We were going to be married.
How old are you? 16?
18. Going on 19. That's not too young to get married, Mr. Clover. I mean, it wouldn't have been.
Ellen, you pawned a ring yesterday. Where'd you get it? Did Paul give it to you?
Where would Paul get a ring like that, Mr. Clover?
Where'd you get it, Ellen?
Came in the mail.
Oh, you have the package it came in?
I threw it away, Mr. Clover. I threw it away. Because I didn't want to know where to send it back.
Maybe you should have given it to the police.
Maybe I should have done what I did. I got $600 for that ring, Mr. Clover. With $600, two people like Paul and me could get married.
Did you tell Paul about the ring?
I didn't see Paul yesterday, Mr. Clover. I didn't see him to tell him about the ring or anything. I've got so much to tell him.
Paul's mother said he had a room of his own. Did you ever see it?
I saw it. I met his roommate, Joe Kendall.
His roommate?
Well, not exactly. You see, Mr. Clover, where Paul lived, that room of his own, that was just a place where he could sleep for 8 hours. Joe Kendall had it for the other 8 hours. They do that a lot up here.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's all, Ellen. Just one thing. You won't go away.
Where would I go, Mr. Clover? Mr. Clover?
Yes, Ellen.
Here's the $600. I got no use for it now.
The hotbed address of Paul's roommate, Joe Kendall, didn't pan out. But a suddenly forgetful landlord suddenly regained his memory when he put on a pair of wire-rimmed glasses and examined my police badge. His cooperation from that instant was a thing of joy. Joe Kendall was working right now, mister. Joe Kendall worked in the change booth in the subway station at 59th Street.
Want some change, mister?
No, sir. Information.
What kind of information?
Your name's Joe Kendall?
That all depends on what connection the name's being used.
In connection with the police.
Show me.
Try this.
Yeah, that badge says you're the police. Says my name's Joe Kendall. What can I do for you, Lieutenant?
It's about Paul Thomas, Joe.
Read about him in the papers this morning. I'm sorry about Paul.
How sorry?
Lieutenant? Wait a minute. Here you are, lady. 2 dimes and a nickel. Lieutenant, it's this way.
Maybe I asked you a bad question, Joe.
Not at all. I'm sorry about Paul, Lieutenant. As sorry as I am for any man who died the way Paul did.
What about Paul? What did he tell you about himself?
Well, things like I'm tired, Joe. That's what he used to say to me. When he woke me up because it was his turn to sleep, he'd tell me things like that.
That's all?
Other things, too, Lieutenant, but that was the general idea.
Something else, Joe. That ring on your finger. Where'd you get it?
Are you going to believe me? Okay, Lieutenant. I'll tell you anyhow. I got it in the mail yesterday.
You should have let the police know.
I should have, but I didn't. Maybe I was going to. Maybe I was going to pawn it. I don't know.
You'd better let me have it.
Sure. Here. Take it. Lieutenant, I'm in trouble now, huh?
I guess right now you come under a couple of laws in the penal code, Joe, but which one escapes me? Just don't run away.
I'll be here, Lieutenant. Here or in Harlem, one place or the other.
It was a decision I had to make about the girl Ellen West and about Joe Kendall. And it was a decision I made. They turned up with a part of the missing jewelry and a strange story how they got it, and I didn't book them. I didn't put a tail on them. If they told the truth, it gelled an idea that was shaping itself. If they'd lied, I'd know it before the day was over. Back at headquarters, I made out my report that way and turned it in. Then there was nothing to do but trade stares with Sergeant Tartaglia and wait for the report from the technical boys.
Oh, I don't know, Danny. I don't know. I'm not sure you did the right thing. Those two might have been holding back.
Technical lab reports, Lieutenant. Ballistics, chemical, prints. All of them.
Thanks.
Okay, Lieutenant.
Ballistics, nothing. No, I figured there'd be nothing there. Hey. So long, Tartaglia.
Hey, Danny, where you going?
Take a look at those reports. They'll make your red face even redder. Those photoelectric eyes wink even at you, huh? Eric Carrion?
They make no distinction, Lieutenant, between friend or enemy. They're ever alert, ever suspicious.
Yeah. You kept me waiting a long time, Eric Carrion.
A jeweler has many things to take care of, Lieutenant. Sometimes you must keep even the police waiting. But you're not lonely. Did not Monsieur Arthur amuse you?
Oh, so that's his name. No, your flunky Arthur didn't amuse me. He's so silent, so sinister, is that the word?
It's a good word for Arthur.
Tell me, Arthur, that shoulder holster you wear under your morning coat, how do you avoid a bulge? You must have a good tailor. I wish I had a tailor like that.
I will send you the name of Arthur's tailor, Lieutenant. Is that all you wanted?
That's just part of it. I'd like to have a look at your vaults.
You wish to buy some jewelry wholesale?
No. I'd just like to find some lost jewelry. Stolen, it says on this list. Stolen from a Mr. Aracarian. That's why I'd like to have a look at your vaults.
You're insane, but I will humor you. But first, a trifle. You have a warrant, Lieutenant?
Now, what do you know about that? I clean forgot to get myself a warrant. But as you say, it's a trifle. Now, how about the vaults?
I do not think so, Lieutenant. In your country, I've learned to do everything. Comme il faut.
How?
Comme il faut. Translation, as it should be.
Thanks. I like to learn new words.
A warrant would be as it should be.
Then I'll just have to get the vault open myself.
Arthur!
Tell your flunky to take his hands off me.
Arthur is a very difficult man to tell things to. Not only does he not talk often he does not listen.
Tell him to take his hands off me.
Perhaps you could persuade him yourself, Lieutenant.
Yeah, perhaps I could. Oh, that's who. I went and spoiled your creases.
You release when I...
Well, Kirk, the eminent investigator. Today on occasion for carrying a gun. You didn't have to shoot Aracarian.
I did, Danny. To save you from getting knocked off, I had to do just that.
Save me? What are you talking about?
Well, look at him. Look at Aracarian's hand. He was just getting ready to pull a Luger.
Yeah. Okay, Kirk, this wraps it up. Let me have your gun.
Huh? What for?
Ballistics will want it to check it against the slugs in the body.
But you saw me shoot him, Danny.
The gun, Kirk.
Are you off your rocker, Danny?
The gun.
I've got a permit for this gun.
The gun!
Oh, ow.
Yeah. Thanks for the gun.
Oh, sure. Sure, Danny, now that I know you were sincere about wanting it. Well, like you said, this wraps it up. You figured it a little ahead of me, that's all.
Tell me how.
Oh, easy. Aracarian never parts with the jewels and reports them stolen for insurance money.
Yeah, true. Tell me, Kirk, how do you figure Paul Thomas figures?
Also simple. Aracarian tells the kid to make it look like the kid ran away. Well, maybe Aracarian wanted to do it another way, and the kid balked.
Yeah, that's right, Kirk. Paul came to me yesterday and started to tell me he was in trouble. It adds up, huh?
It adds up neat.
You know what else? 2 of the gems showed up with 2 of Paul's friends. Aracarian mailed them to throw off suspicion.
Clever, real clever.
Yeah, but here's the twist. The gun Paul was holding in that tenement cellar had no fingerprints on it.
Huh?
He was dead before he went in that tenement, Kirk. Dead men leave no prints. Paul Thomas was dead before I saw you, Kirk.
Hey, that is a twist.
That scene in the condemned tenement, you and Aracarian staged it. That's why I want your gun, to check it against the slugs they took from Paul's body.
You're crazy, Danny.
Listen, how else I'm crazy. You killed Paul. You propositioned him and he'd have none of it, so you killed him. And you killed Eric Arian so he wouldn't implicate you.
You stink, copper. You stink, but you won't take me.
I've been waiting for you to do that, Kirk. Waiting.
Ow!
That's for Paul. For Paul. For Paul. What stopped me was something gentle. A tap on the shoulder, that was all. But it stopped me. Man from headquarters looked down at me, and his tap was gentle. He said that was enough. I quit, but I didn't believe him. He said Kirk was something the law had to take care of. Then I had to believe him, because I'm a cop. In the mid-afternoon heat, Broadway is a desert littered with mirages of what might be men or women. You touch some and they vanish. You touch others and they snarl and slink away. It's real or it's phantom. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. Mr. Keene, a famed tracer of lost persons, goes society tonight. Knowing Mr. Keene, you realize at once that it's not so much the question of which court, but which suspect. Mr. Keene's latest adventure, the Society Murder Case, will follow in just a few moments on most of these same CBS network stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. And no wonder. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes loose dandruff. What's more, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil is the only leading hair tonic that contains soothing lanolin. So ask for Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Take the camera, please. Hold it. Thanks. Look for it in the Morning Express. Casey, press photographer. Columbia brings you another adventure of Casey, press photographer. Tonight and every Saturday at this time, Columbia invites you to follow Casey on his exciting assignment and to meet the strangely assorted people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight, The Clue in the Clouds. In the quiet evening air, there suddenly comes a whirring of wings. It's a helicopter, apparently out of control. Like a giant bird, it flaps crazily about for a few minutes and then heads out to sea. What is it?
It looks like a bird.
It's a helicopter.
It's a wild plane. It's out of control. It may fall.
Better clear the street. City desk. Burke speaking.
Hey, Burke.
Who is this? Casey?
Yes, it's Casey. Listen, there's an airplane loose over the city, a helicopter. Yeah, it's out of control. Something is
just happened to the pilot. It's headed out to sea. The Coast Guard is trying to get the plane in the air to follow it now.
Oh, yeah? Where are you?
I'm at the Blue Note.
I thought so. Now, listen, Casey. Go home and sleep it off. I'll see you in the morning.
Now, listen. Are you with Bert?
Yeah. You ought to know better than to phone me in that condition. Now, go home and go to bed.
Oh, stop it, Bert. I'm as sober as you are. I tell you, this is a story.
Okay. So it's a story. What do you want me to do? Stay up all night waiting for you to get it?
Oh, that's... Well, Chief, I knew I could count on you. We're going down to the Coast Guard headquarters now and get all the dope we can. Maybe some pictures.
Who's with you?
And William.
All right, you crazy loon. But this had better be good. If that helicopter turns out to be a Halloween witch on a broom, you shut your last picture for me. You get that?
Get it? I know it by heart. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ha! Helicopter.
But I'm telling you, Bert, it fell into the sea like a millstone and disappeared.
Well, Casey, if 4,000 other people hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. Whose plane was it?
The police say it was John Hampton. He had the only helicopter around here.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Flew it in from his estate to the top of his office building every day.
Oh, pioneer, Knute.
And he's missing, huh?
Yeah, he and Mrs. Hampton both.
Well, take that stuff you've got to a rewrite man. Have one of the boys fix up an obituary. We've lost one of our leading citizens in a plane accident. And that's that.
Now, listen, Bert.
Casey doesn't think it was an accident.
No, for Pete's sake. And why not?
Bert, I think that dive into the ocean was planned. There's something phony about this story, and I want to track it down.
All right. What do you want to do? Go chasing geese again?
You better let him, Bert.
Someday, Casey, you'll go out and cover a story that I want covered. Now, go on. Get out of here.
Thanks, Bert. Bert, I'll tell you, I'll make a bet with you. If I'm right about this, the drinks are on you. And right now, I'm going over to John Hampton's offices to see what I can find out.
Oh, you better take Williams with you. You just sit around and sulk till you get back.
Oh, Depot, thanks.
Okay, Bert, we're on our way. You're, Miss Gray, aren't you? Miss Matilda Gray?
Yes, I was Mr. Hampton's secretary.
Yes, what we want is material for a little story on Mr. Hampton. You think you can help us?
He was a wonderful man. Everybody admired and respected Mr. Hampton. I don't know what else I can say.
He owned this building, didn't he?
Yes, the Hampton Importing Company occupies the top 3 floors. He liked the idea of having his office here in the penthouse.
Mm-hmm. Is that the landing platform for his helicopter out there?
Yes, that's it.
You mind if I get a picture of it?
Not at all. Can you take it through the window?
Now, let's see. Yes, I think so. Well, thank you.
Now, could we have an agreement? Of me?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Hold it. Thanks. Well, that's one you won't have to look for in the Express. Now, Miss Gray, what other interests did Mr. Hampton have?
Business interest? Anything at all. Well, he had a little commercial movie studio, the Aristocrat Film Company. But that's been closed up for 6 months.
Oh? Where's that?
At 292 Falmouth Street. They made short commercial reels and trailers. But it was only sort of hobby with Mr. Hampton. Never made any money. Well, what do you know of Mr. Hampton's family and Mrs. Hampton? She was alone when she married John. Mr. Hampton. She had no living relatives. And he just had an uncle. A Robert K. Hampton.
Oh, an uncle, eh? Where's he?
Well, he lived somewhere on an island in the Celebes Sea. Now held by the Japanese, I understand. He was a sort of black sheep. Mr. Hampton hadn't heard from him for many years. Assumed he was dead or a prisoner until... Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this. But shortly before his death, a letter came from Australia. I didn't open it, but when Mr. Hampton read it, he seemed terribly upset. Then he told me it was from his uncle.
Do you have that letter now?
No, it seems to have disappeared.
And this was just before his death?
Yes, he may have had it in his pocket.
Miss Gray, this uncle, was he by any chance mentioned in Mr. Hampton's will?
Yes, everything. All his money, the business, this building, everything. Oh, Mr. Casey, this is always a terrible nightmare. I can't believe that he's gone. I don't know where to turn. Oh, Miss Gray, it's all right. You mustn't take down. You need to rest a bit. Powder your nose. You'll feel better. I'm all right. I'm sorry. If you just excuse me for a moment, I'll be right back.
Well, certainly, Miss Gray. I'm sorry we upset you.
Thank you. I'll be all right. Casey, here's a leaf.
What?
A clue. He was in love with her boss.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Never mind. Just take a woman's word for it.
What's the matter, young woman?
Nothing. That is, you gave me a start.
Why should I frighten you?
You look like...
And if I may ask, who are you? What are you doing here? I'm just a reporter. Who is this young lady?
I'm a reporter, too.
What are reporters doing here? If you'll pardon me, sir, who are you? My name is Robert K. Hampton. I'm John Hampton's uncle.
So you think this uncle had something to do with Hampton's death, huh?
Well, look, a guy named the Black Sheep Uncle is beneficiary in his will and suddenly gets a letter from him.
From all reports, he's very upset by it.
And the next day packed himself and his wife off in a plane for a double suicide.
Lieutenant Logan pronounced it an accident.
Yeah, well, it doesn't add up to me. This uncle ties in somehow. Come on, Ann, I gotta think. Let's get out in the air.
The nice slow floating there is a blue note, I have no doubt.
What do you have?
One beer.
Same as usual for me. Okay, beer and the usual coming up. Hey, what are you reading, Edward?
A book on victory gardening, I guess. My sister Edna gave it to me.
Oh, your sister Edna likes to read.
Yeah, she does. She don't drink much.
What's the name of the book?
5 Little Peppers and How They Grew.
Listen, why don't you read something interesting?
Like that death plane story of yours in the Express? I'm following that, too.
Good.
Here's your beer.
Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I think it was a sort of chameleon of errors. I think this guy was planning to run away with some dame. He gets the plane all heated up for it when a heavily veiled figure sneaks into the cockpit beside him and gives him the nod to get going. Then he finds out that it's his wife and not his lady friend under the heavy drapes and that she's crossed him up. And by that time, he's so disgusted he dumps the whole thing in the drink.
On what do you base these deductions, Ethelbert?
Yes, mastermind. Tell us.
Quote, he who tries to fool his wife ends up playing the fool himself. Unquote.
You better stick to your books, Ethelbert, and leave the amateur detective to Casey.
Yeah, and you know, Ethelbert, I wouldn't waste my time on 5 Little Peppers either. It's way over your head.
Well, to tell the truth, I'm having a tough time wading through it. You got any ideas?
Well, there's Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
They got that in a book already?
Sure.
Well, it just declined and fell last September.
Hey, look, Annie, you tell him. I'm going over and talk to Ernie. Hiya, Casey. Hi, Ernie. Don't worry, man. Ernie, you got an old tune handy? Something for me to swing by? Sure. That's good. Can't quite tag it, though, is it? Me and my shadow. Oh, yeah, sure. Me and my shadow. Yep. You know that other self always under your feet? Other self, huh? Yep. You got another self. Now, one Casey has to stay here and work on the Express. Yeah. The other wants to fly away. Oh, dear, I'm up in the woods somewhere. Ernie, you got an uncle? Sure, I got an uncle. Well, if you knew he was coming to see you, would you want to
fly away?
Well, I'd be tempted. Yeah, why? Because it means that he was bringing his 8 kids along to live off of me.
Yeah, but the thought wouldn't make you want to kill yourself.
Casey, why you gotta be so dramatic? Of course not.
Tell me, honey, what makes guys want to get away?
Dave, usually. I see him fly away from one and go right to another, leaving all their worldly goods behind them.
That's kind of costly.
Yeah. Eggs are costly. Now, for me now, I try to get the dame to fly away and leave my worldly goods to me.
What?
I say it'd pay a fella better if he could get the dame to fly away and leave the worldly goods to you.
I think you got something there. Yeah, thanks. I tell you, this 5 little peppers and how they grew has got me puzzled. I'm in the 4th chapter already, and they ain't even started to spade the ground up. Hey, come on, Ann. I suddenly got a hunch.
Where are we going?
Oh, but tomorrow, we're going back and have another look at Uncle Robert K. Hampton.
You may come in now.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Robert K. Hampton. Miss Williams, Mr. Casey.
Yes, we've met before, briefly. How do you do? Well, this is the young lady who was so startled yesterday when she first saw me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton. It was just that you looked so much.
I know. You were struck by my resemblance to my nephew.
Yes.
Well, I don't blame you. You know, I never realized how much he'd got to look like me until I arrived and saw his picture here.
Yes, it is a striking resemblance, sir. Your hair is gray instead of brown.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, he had a mustache.
Yeah, but anyone would take you for brothers otherwise.
I think you're quite different.
After all, there were only 7 years difference in our ages. I was just a kid when my brother's son, John, was born.
Yeah, we were very sorry about what happened to your nephew, Mr. Hampton. These things are always kind of tough to take.
Yes, they are. But, of course, it wasn't entirely unexpected. You know, I thought John would probably come to some violent end. Why, even as a kid, he was always keyed up. Couldn't relax. Awful notion. We should have taken things easier. Now look at me. I spent my youth bumming around the world. Never made much, but I had fun and got along. Then I found a spot where life was pleasant, and I settled down.
Where was that?
Jurang Island, near Borneo. Paradise, simply paradise. That is, until the Japs came along. Then I somehow managed to get out. Just by the skin of my teeth, too.
Right.
Yes. Now, well, here I am. You see, everything worked out pretty well.
Yes, thanks to John Hampton and spent his whole life.
Mister, you were saying?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton.
Do you mind if I take some pictures, Mr. Hampton? My paper wants to run a feature on you and your nephew. You know, your vastly different lives and activities. You know, the Hampton who traveled the earth and the Hampton who stayed at home.
That's rather a good idea, Mr. Casey.
Don't mind. Let's try behind the desk there.
All right. How's this?
You'll pardon me, Mr. Hampton, but your hair's a little mussed. You know, with such striking gray hair as you have, you ought to have it looking its best.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't move. Miss Williams will arrange it.
Oh, all right.
Have you got a comb, ma'am?
Uh-huh. It's been waiting in my bag. Now, just a second. There you are.
Thank you. Fine, that's it. Now, Mr. Hampton, hold it.
Want another?
I'm sure that one picture should be enough.
Miss Gray, if you please.
Well, we'll take one more. Just one more for good luck. Now, hold that just as you are, right there. Thank you.
Oh, but I'm afraid I'm in that one, too. Your camera was pointed right at me.
Well, we'll see when they're developed. Now, thank you both very much.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Casey, I'm somewhat of a camera fan myself.
Oh, that's so?
Yes, taking pictures all my life. I have some beautiful shots of Jurang Island. I was wondering if perhaps
you couldn't print them along with the feature on my nephew and me. Not that I would want to monopolize the story, of course, no. But I only thought it might set off the differences in us. More dramatically. You know, give it a little added color.
Yeah, sure. Sure, that might be an angle. Let's see the pictures.
Yes, well, I have a few small ones in my wallet here.
Uh-huh.
The Jets got most of my stuff, of course.
Oh, yes, I can imagine.
Let me see now. Yes, here's the nice shot. Mount Ponamau.
Ah. Hey, look at this, Anne.
Beautiful.
And this is a view of my backyard, so to speak, looking north.
Is that you and Hamlet?
Yes, that's me. I used the self-timer. Set it and then ran and got into the picture. Used a flexo camera with f3.5 lens at 1/20th of a second.
Oh, it's not bad. What's this one?
That's me again. Same trick. That was taken from the front porch.
Looking south?
Yes.
That's lovely country. Looks almost like a stage setting. I think perhaps we're boring these people, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, I'm afraid we are.
No, really, not at all. I'd like to use these pictures. They're exceptional shots.
And pictures always dress up a feature.
Well, all right. But you will be careful to return them to me, won't you? They're the only prints I have, and I treasure them beyond words.
Don't worry, I'll treat them with kid gloves.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Well, that's all right. Now, I think we better be pushing off. Time and deadlines wait for no man.
And no woman either. We're happy to meet Mr. Hampton, and we hope that you like it here.
I think I shall. Take good care of the picture.
Right. Look for him in the morning express.
Fine, thank you.
Good night.
I don't like that young man. He's too clever.
Now, darling, take it easy. After all, he's only a newspaper photographer.
Are you sure this article on you is a good idea?
Of course. We'll need it. Why do you think I went to all that work to get those pictures? The public must be convinced, too. Now, don't worry, my dear. There'll be no slip-up.
There better hadn't be. Not after 11 years of planning and waiting.
Now that those people have the pictures, I must set fire to the evidence.
You mean burn the negatives?
There are little fires and big fires.
Oh. You mean...
Yes. Tomorrow night, a nice big fire.
Let's see that negative there.
Here you are. Yes, sir. That I call a nice layout.
Yeah. Pictures look pretty good, huh?
My article's all right, too. You know, someday I must teach you how to read.
Yeah. Say, these have sure rang on and came out really bright and clear, didn't they? Hey, Ann, look at this.
What?
You notice anything strange about those two shots taken in Hampton's front and backyard?
No.
Well, I do. Look. Look at this bank of clouds here. It looks sort of like a face, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. It looks like my Aunt Sophie.
Now, quit clowning. Look at it close.
I'm looking.
Oh, now, that's supposed to be a view looking north.
That's right.
Well, here's exactly the same formation in the view looking south.
Well, that's queer.
Queer. It's a physical impossibility. There haven't been two cloud formations exactly alike since the first day of creation.
Well, then these things were fake.
Yeah, they were beautifully fake. You know, I thought Hampton froze a little when you made that crack.
Which crack?
About those pictures looking almost like a stage setting. No, Annie, Hampton gave us these pictures for the paper for a reason. He wants everyone to see them. He wants everyone to think that he has lived all these years miles away from here, and that he arrived here just in time to have a pot of gold fall into his lap.
Oh, that's a little too neat, isn't it?
Yeah, these pictures are all he's got to prove he wasn't here all the time.
Well, if he was here, how do we know he didn't murder John Hampton? He had the motive, all right. The will gives him everything.
Yeah, and right under John Hampton's feet. Hey, who said something like that? Ernie. That's right, me and my shadow. Annie, I think I got it. Quick, let me look at your comb.
Well, sure, Casey. Well, here, but what on earth is the matter?
Wait a minute. Here, look at this. A hair. A lone gray hair. I gotta take this down to Logan and have him run some tests on it. I'll see you back here in about an hour.
print.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to check on them. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Look, Bert. This one of Hampton with Miss Gray in the background. You see this?
Yeah. And what a sugar-coated look she's got on her portrait.
Hey, let me see.
Don't she look like a mother whose son has just been made president of his class or something?
She in love with this guy?
Of course not.
You sure, Ann?
Well, she just met him.
Uh-huh. You swore she was in love with her boss.
That's right. And a woman like that couldn't be in love with two men.
Why not?
Because she's the perfect one-man woman type.
Uh-huh. That's all I wanted to hear. I got a theory on this case, and this just about puts a pin on it. Come on.
Well, where are we going?
We got a little job of breaking and entering to do. We're going to crash the deserted studio of the Aristocrat Film Company. I think I just about got it.
Isn't this a tiny little bit illegal?
I can fix that with Logan, just like that. There we are. Come on, we got to work fast.
Oh, spooky, isn't it?
When I light a match. See any light switches around here?
Wait a minute. Here's one.
That's better. Wow, so this is the Aristocrat movie studio, huh?
And a fine place to bring a young girl in the dead of night.
Annie, you see those crates over there?
Yeah?
I'll bet you 10 to 1 they're full of prop palms, grass mats, and tropical foliage. Let's see.
All right. Mr. Casey, your intuition is appalling. I'm glad I didn't cover that bit.
Uh-huh. Artificial flowers, trees, rocks, leaves. Everything you need to build up a nice little South Sea Island setting right here.
Uh-huh. You mean Hampton could have sneaked in here alone, arranged a beautiful little tropic setting, and taken pictures all over the place?
Not only could have, he did, with a self-timer. And by changing the bushes and foliage around, he got the so-called view from his front porch and the one from his back porch.
Well, where's the sky with a funny cloud formation?
It's hanging right over your head. Look up.
All those big hanging things?
Yeah, it's one of those. Those are backgrounds, you see, held up there by these ropes tied right here.
Oh, Fritz, see?
Hey, look out. You want to kill us both? You pull that knot and all those heavy drops and crash down on our heads.
Sorry. I only thought you might want to get them down to see if you could find the one with the cloud.
Yeah, but we'll have to snub the rope around his peg and have to drop down gradually. Those things are heavy. Put your hands up, Casey Hampton.
He's got a gun.
You too, Miss Williams.
Oh, yes, sir.
You seem surprised to see me, Mr. Casey. Why? Do you forget that I own this studio now? It's rather I who should be surprised. What are you doing here?
We're looking for Churang Island. And you?
I came to burn this place down. For a reason that you may have already surmised.
Yeah. You didn't want anyone to find out where you made those phony pictures, did you?
No, and I don't want you to tell them. And you won't if you and your charming lady friend should get trapped here and cremated.
There's rather an ugly name for that. Murder.
A murder is not a murder until it's proven so. But before I kill you, I want you to tell me something.
Yes, I expected that. Most murderers are very cautious to know where they slipped up. All right, I'll tell you, Mr. John Hampton.
Oh. You guessed that, too.
Of course. You're not Robert K. Hampton. There never was any Robert K. Hampton. You never fled from the Japs on Churang Island. You picked that place because it would be impossible to check your story. This whole thing was arranged between you and Miss Matilda Gray. You planned this for years and been in love with her for years.
Go on.
You drew your will to a fictitious uncle and probably faked up enough credentials so that you could appear to be that uncle.
And then when the time came, all you had to do was drug your wife, put her in a helicopter.
There was just enough fuel to get over the ocean and set the controls and let her go.
Don't you think the plan was clever?
Fiendishly clever. And it was clever of you to spend 10 years working out your disguise. Most criminals try to change their identity by putting on a disguise. You achieved a change by taking one off. One you'd worn for 10 years. You shaved your mustache, bleached the dye out of your hair, and then came down here and took a few pictures of yourself in a tropical setting. Then, the very next day, you turned up as the long-lost uncle, inheriting all your own money and in a position to marry Miss Matilda Gray.
I fooled everyone but you, Mr. Casey. Tell me, Why did you suspect me? Well, being a photographer, maybe I looked too closely at your pictures. And you made the mistake of using the same sky in all of them. Oh. Clever of you to notice it.
Well, you picked up on one other little thing, too. Say, remember when I combed it for you, Mr. Hampton?
Yes, under the police microscope, a strand of your hair still showed traces of brown dye.
It's those little things, Mr. Hampton.
Perhaps. And then, of course, you should never have let me get a picture of Matilda Gray off guard. For although she treated you badly and seemed to hate you, her love showed up in the face as plainly as though it were written there. Very interesting. And as Anne told me, a woman like Matilda Gray couldn't love two men. It turned out she didn't. Both men were you. Quite right. Now, before you have a chance to turn this story over to the police, I'm afraid I shall have to shoot you both.
I wonder if you'd mind shooting me first. The sight of blood, you know.
You can't afford the joke, Miss Williams.
Oh, no. I don't want to be too near. May I stand over there by those ropes?
Wherever you wish.
Thank you.
Good girl, Annie. Good girl, boy. That dude is okay. I got his gun. Wow, that drop sure beat.
Crazy, Billy.
Yeah. Well, he won't know it for an hour or so. Gee, kid, nice going.
Well, darling, you told me not to pull that knot.
Annie, this was an inspiration. I could just about kiss you.
Oh, so I've got to save your life to deserve one stingy little kiss.
One for his shadow, yeah. And one for you, Ethelbert, and a double for Gray. Hey, Casey. And see what the boys in the back room will have, too. And what would you like, Mr. Burt? Oh, please, Ethelbert. How much is sarsaparilla? Well, as Carrie Nation once said, quote, he who partakes only of nature's liquor has the pleasure of remaining sober and paying the check. Unquote.
You've been listening to Casey, Press Photographer, played by Scott Cotsworth, a new series of adventure programs based on the fictional character created by George Harmon Cox. Casey Press Photographer is directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by John Beaton.
And now, here is your Wheaties man, Frank Martin. Go out and get the Wheaties. It's National Wheaties Week. Yep, this is the week everybody's trying Wheaties. See yourself how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. A better breakfast beginning with Wheaties can help make a wonderful difference because there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake. So eat happy, work happy. Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Get yours. Get yours. It's National Wheaties Week.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A gang of quick-trigger gunmen have moved in on your city. They've given public notice that they'll kill the first cop who tries to take them. You know the risks, your job. Apprehend the suspects.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My partner's Ben Romero. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau. It was 4 minutes to 6 when I got to room 42. Homicide. Say, Ben, I pulled the package on the Raymond killing.
And that proves you can still read, Friday.
He said it, Joe. Your pal, Fred Lindsay.
Hiya, Fred. What's doing?
Busier than you are. We know what we're looking for. Just having a little trouble finding them.
That's the way it is with automobiles. They misplace so easy.
Not normally, they don't. We've got a small-size epidemic on our hands.
Well, don't let us keep you, Fred.
Just ducked in here for a breath of calm air and to invite you to dinner for the last time.
The wife and I are still waiting for the first time.
How about it, Joe? Ruth's got a new pressure cooker.
Your sister-in-law visiting you again, huh?
No, on the level. Not selling a thing.
Come on. Who is it this time?
My cousin. But she's awfully pretty, Joe.
Oh, why do you guys insist on trying to marry me off?
Me and Fred went down fighting, but it kind of grows on you after a while.
Now, tell me, what is it about a married man? Just can't stand to see one single man left in the world.
How about it, Joe? Tomorrow night at 7, okay?
Okay. Tell Ruth I'll be there.
It figures that he's got to run out of kinfolks pretty soon.
Fine, we'll be expecting you. Got a stakeout tonight, but tomorrow I'll be clear.
Anything big?
Nothing definite, Ben. Just to follow up on those stolen cars. See you, men.
So long, Lindsay.
Joe, you'll like my cousin.
Oh, never say die. What a character.
You just catnipped women, Joe.
Yeah. Well, here's that Raymond package. Let's check those dates that Backstrand wanted, huh? Wednesday, April 17th was just routine. A dinner date I tried to get out of, some paperwork that the chief wanted done, and a hot, sticky day. Too hot to wear a suit of clothes. Sometimes it's like that. A day starts out being routine. By the time it comes of age, it's got a personality all its own. At 10:23 that night, Ben and I were just finishing up the paperwork, and Ed Backstrand opened his office door.
Friday, Romero just got a hotshot call.
What you got, Skipper?
Hold up and shooting at Hooper and Esperanza, code 3.
Code 3, that means red light and siren. It was 10:32 when Ben and I pulled up at the corner of Hooper and Esperanza. It was a bar in the basement of a building on the south side of the street. A radio car was there, and the two officers were holding the crowd back. A man was talking to one of the officers who turned and pointed to us. As Ben and I got out of our car, the man hurried over to us.
You're the detectives?
That's right, Sergeant Friday.
My name's Cummings, R.L. Cummings. I own the bar. This is terrible. There was a gunfight downstairs.
Uh-huh, come on. Where's the ambulance?
One of the officers in the radio car said we needed the coroner.
Did you see the actual shooting?
No, I didn't. Here's the fellow that was shot.
Oh, there's Jones from the crime lab.
Hello, Friday. Romero.
Hi, Lee. What do we got here?
Pretty bad. Looks like a shotgun. Close range.
He really got in the way of it.
Ben.
Yeah.
It's Fred Lindsay. Motor theft.
He was on a stakeout, Lee.
Tell us about it, Mr. Cummings.
You know this fellow, Sergeant?
Yeah, we know him. What happened?
We had a holdup tonight. 3 men.
Yes, go on.
Well, business was good, real good. We had a large crowd, and I was happy about that because I've been trying to sell out for a long time now. I've been showing the place to different parties all week long. I had a fellow coming over tonight to take a look at it.
What time was that?
Oh, a little less than an hour ago, about 9:30.
I see. Go ahead.
It was almost time for this man to show up, so I called Eddie, that's my bartender, and I told him to kind of keep a lookout for the man because I was going back to the office to get the books ready to show. You know how it is when you want to sell a business. You'll watch for him, Eddie?
You bet I will.
If you want me, I'll be back in the office.
Keep your mouth shut and stand still.
Huh?
You own this bar, don't you?
Well, yes. What is this?
You're the boy we want to see.
Which one of you?
All 3 of us.
What's going on?
What's it look like, genius? It's a stick-up.
I haven't any money.
You go to the bank on Thursdays, don't you?
Well, I made my deposit today instead.
I've been watching you for a month now. Don't give us that. You go to the bank on Thursdays. Now, come on, hand it over.
I'm telling you the truth. I usually go on Thursdays, but I went today instead.
You're lying, Ace, and we ain't got much time.
Look, you can have all the money I've got on me. I think it's about $200. But that's all I have. Here.
Why you argue with him? Take what he's got and we'll shake the customers down.
No, please don't do that. You got my money. Isn't that enough?
No, it ain't. Come on, let's go out front.
That's about all I remember, Sergeant. When I come around, I was lying on the floor of my office.
You better have somebody take a look at that cut on your face.
Yeah, I'm going to right away. There's my bartender. He saw the fight.
What's his name, Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yes, sir?
These men are detectives, Eddie. Will you tell them what you saw?
Oh, it was pretty rough.
And tell us what happened when they started the shooting.
That fellow the coroner just took out of here sure was long on nerve. Took on all three of them single-handed.
Tell us what you saw.
You ought to get that fellow's name. Sure had a lot of nerve. Took over just like he was a cop.
He was a cop. Now, what did you see?
I pegged him for a cop. Well, he was sitting up at the bar. Been nursing a bottle of beer for about an hour. I was keeping an eye on the front door, watching for this fellow the boss wanted to see. So I didn't see the three hold-up men come through from the back. But I heard them.
All right, let's knock it off. You can all see this shotgun. Anybody make a move, and I'll blow your head off. Demas, cover the front door.
Got it.
Sickle, shake him down. Okay, gents. You guys in the band, keep that music going. The rest of you people turn around and face the bar. Put your hands on top of the bar and leave them there till we tell you to move. Come on, hurry up. Knock it off. Okay, Sickle. We'll take your money, your watches, anything else you got. Now, don't try to be cute and hold out. All right, you, take off the watch. I'll get your billfold. You, lady, let's have the ring.
This man they call Sickle went right down the line. Took everything he could lay his hands on. This cop, your friend, was facing me at the far end of the bar. He was standing there just like the others. He kind of leaned toward me a little.
Can you see the guy with the shotgun?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Center of the room.
The other guy still at the door?
Yeah.
Got his gun out?
Holding it in his right hand.
How far down the line is the other guy?
About 10 people away.
Hey, you two down at the end there. Knock it off. Hurry up, Sickle. Doing the best I can. Come on, let's have the purse, lady. You, next to the lady here, get the watch off. I'll take this wallet over.
How far away now?
Getting closer. But we better shut up like he says.
I'm going to take the one with the shotgun first.
He'll blow you to pieces.
I got a gun. How far away is that guy now?
I thought Jans told you two to shut up.
All right, Sickle, try to move and I'll break your back.
Let me go.
Go ahead and shoot, Jans.
Stay away from him, Sickle.
All you people at the bar, down on the floor. Okay, you with that shotgun. Grab it.
Demas, can you get a shot at him?
Not without hitting Sickle. Come on, you. I'm waiting.
You got us all wrong, boy. We like Sickle, but not that much.
The cop was holding Sickle as a shield. When the big guy let go of the shotgun, both the cop and Sickle ducked. The cop didn't get hit. But this man, Sickle, fell over on his face, grabbed at his arm. The man with the shotgun went down on one knee, holding his stomach. The man at the door took a shot at the cop, but he missed. Then the cop fired 3 shots at the man by the door. Looked like the first 2 missed, but the last one caught the man in the leg and he went down. Well, by this time, the big guy with the shotgun had recovered enough to hold his weapon again. I tried to warn the cop.
Look out! The guy with the shotgun!
I see him.
The cop pointed his gun and pulled the trigger, but he was out of shells. Boy, Sergeant, my stomach knotted up when I heard that hammer fall against those empty chambers. The cop threw his gun at the guy with the shotgun and then ran right at him. You know, it was just as if that cop was trying to run right down the barrel of that shotgun. I glanced at the cop on the floor, then I tried to follow the 3 of them as they made their way out of the bar. They jumped into a car out front and drove off. As a kid, I used to watch Bill Hart take on a whole gang in the movies, but this way, right in front of my eyes, Sergeant, he was an awful brave guy.
Did you get the license number of their car?
No, I didn't. I couldn't see very well.
You got a pretty good look at all 3 of the men, though, didn't you?
I believe I'd recognize any of them.
Thanks, Eddie. What's your last name?
Bowers. Eddie Bowers.
Got that, Ben?
Yeah.
You'll be hearing from us, Eddie. We may want you to look at some pictures for us.
Glad to help any way I can, Sergeant. I hope you get the men that shot this cop. You're sure going to try, aren't you?
Yeah, Eddie. We're sure going to try. The next step was for Ben and I to make a complete report to Chief Ed Backstrand.
They got Lindsay, huh? That Fred Lindsay in auto theft?
Yeah, that's right.
Good cut. You say he wounded 2 out of the 3 in that holdup?
Yeah.
That means they'll have to have medical attention in a hurry. We'll check all the small hospitals, cover all the drugstores to get a line on anyone who's bought medical supplies in the last hour.
Uh-huh. As soon as medical detail notifies Miss Lindsay, I'd like to go over and see her.
Smith from the medical detail's out there now. By the time you get back, we may have a flash in the drugstores or hospitals.
We'll be back in 30 minutes.
Call in when you get out there.
Right, Ed.
You might carry this with you.
Yeah?
I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach about this thing. I want you to get those 2-bit punks. I don't want them to see another sunrise. Got that, haven't you?
Yeah, Ed.
Let's go, Ben.
Chandler?
Yes, sir.
Put out an APB. Have communications broadcast the descriptions of these suspects every 30 minutes until further notice. Get them to communications right away.
Hello, Joe. Come in.
Thanks, Ruth.
Sit down.
Ruth, you know how we all feel.
It's all right, Joe. You're married to a cop. I guess you're meant to expect things like this.
He'll like that.
Fred and I used to discuss the possibility of this. Used to worry about him. I used to worry a lot, Joe. All those nights when he was away and the days, I used to worry. Now I know he's safe.
Anything you want or you need?
Thanks, no, Joe.
Anything at all that I can do?
Yes, Joe. I think there's something you can do. You and Ben are assigned to this case, aren't you?
That's right.
Then be careful. I was thinking that you and Ben will have to face those killers. Ben's wife. Be careful, Joe.
Yeah, Ruth, we will.
Sure. I want to see you get the men that did this to Fred. More than anything, I want that. No more heartaches.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, Joe.
How'd she take it, Joe?
Let's go.
Joe, how'd she take it?
You're married, Ben. You figure it. It was 11:30 when we got back to Central Division. As we walked into the squad room, Backstrand was waiting for us.
Friday, we just got our first lead. We've located a druggist who said he sold some medical supplies to a man about 45 minutes ago. There's the address. Pretty close to the scene of the shooting. Hop out and see him right away.
The Rex Pharmacy was exactly 14 blocks from the Red Feather Bar where the shooting took place. Rex Pharmacy was like your corner drugstore, complete with apothecary jars and shower curtains. The druggist was the same little man who's been prescribing sulfur and molasses since you were a kid in school.
I'm just about ready to close. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
We're from the police department.
I've been halfway expecting you fellows.
We got a report that you sold some medical supplies to a man about an hour ago.
Yes, sir, that's right. Yes, like I was telling those other officers that were here a while ago. There was something funny about that little fellow.
How you mean?
Well, for one thing, he came in here sweating quite a bit. Of course, it's a warm night, but he seemed terribly nervous.
Anybody with him?
No, he was all by himself.
What did he buy?
Well, it wasn't so much what he bought, but how much.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know how most people buy iodine, a little 10-cent bottle. He bought a couple of pints. Then there was all that gauze and adhesive tape. Bought enough to repair a small army. Cotton, box of swabs. Then he asked me something that made me wonder.
What was that?
Asked me if I had something to probe with. That's just the way he said it. Something to probe with. I asked him, what do you want to probe for?
What'd he say?
Said a splinter. I told him a sewing needle would do the trick. He said, forget it, and then he paid me and walked out.
Uh-huh. Could you describe the man?
He was a small man, dark. Like I said, awful nervous.
You think you could identify him?
Oh, sure I could, if I ever saw him again.
Well, did he leave on foot, or was there a car outside?
Left in a cab, parked right out in front. Couldn't miss it.
Did you happen to take down the license number?
Well, no, I didn't. But I did jot down the taxicab number. Would that help?
Taking down cab numbers isn't exactly in a druggist's line, but because he had the presence of mind to do that one small thing, we accomplished in 10 minutes what could have well taken as many weeks. Maybe with this small wedge, we could do what Backstrand wanted us to do. Get the killers before another sunrise. Well, it was close to midnight when we stepped into the drugstore phone booth. I called the cab company, got the night supervisor. I gave him the number of the cab, and he checked his location chart. Cab 375 was operating out of a stand at Wilshire and Greenhaven. It was the right driver, and he remembered the fare.
Sure, I know who you mean. A little guy. Seemed in a big hurry. It was a long fare, though. I took him out to Inglewood. Wait till I check my log sheet. I'll give you the exact address.
Here it is, Joe. 1523 Imperial. It's the rooming house.
Yeah, come on. We'll check with the landlady.
Kind of late, Joe.
Yeah, let's stand away from the door, huh? Might not be the landlady who answers.
Yes, what do you want?
Police department.
Oh, well, just a minute. Let me see your badge.
There you are, ma'am. I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Romero. Homicide.
All right. Now, what do you want? I run a good, clean rooming house
It's
here.
not the house, lady. It's one of your tenants.
Which one?
That's what we want you to help us on.
Look, do you men know what time it is? Come back here in the morning.
Sorry, this can't wait till morning.
Well, I'm not going to invite you in. We'll talk right here on the porch and keep your voices down. My tenants work during the day.
Whatever you say, ma'am.
Now, what is it you want to know?
We're looking for a small, dark man.
Well, I got 3 here. Could fit that description.
No, he came in late tonight, about 45 minutes ago.
I wouldn't know about that. I don't spy on my people.
This is very important.
You'll have to keep your voices down.
Sorry. He's dark and he's small.
Oh, I didn't just say he was dark. You must mean Mr. Tyndall. What's he done?
What's his room number?
He's in room 10, but I can't allow you to tramp up and down the stairs at this hour. You'll wake all my roomers.
We'll be as quiet as he wants us to be.
What do you mean by that? Is there going to be trouble?
I don't know, lady.
Where do we find number 10?
The end of the hall, last room on the right, and keep your voices down.
If you'll just wait in your room, lady, we'll call you for want you.
Okay, here we are. If I keep the door clear, Ben, we might have trouble.
Think they all in there?
We'll know in a minute.
Who is it? What do you want?
Police department. I'll try this closet, Joe.
What do you want with me? What are you looking for?
Closet's empty.
What'd you say your name was?
Tyndall, Bob Tyndall.
New name, but same face, huh, Joe?
Yeah, how long you been out of jail, Tenny?
My name ain't Tenney, it's Tyndall.
Your name's not Tyndall, it's Sam Tenney.
We sent you up on a robbery charge 4 years ago. Now, isn't that right, Tenny?
No, it's not right. You got the wrong man. I never been in jail.
Yes, you have, because we sent you there.
Now, come on. Who'd you buy the medical supplies for?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, Tenny, it's a hot night and it's late, so let's cut out the smart talk, huh?
Who'd you buy those medical supplies for?
Tenny, look, you're a two-time loser right now. Who are you shielding?
You got nothing on me. I ain't done a thing.
We can prove that you bought those supplies tonight, and it can go kind of hard on you. So let's open up.
I've been out of this room all night long.
We got a druggist and a cab driver who will make a liar out of you.
I still don't know a thing.
That cab driver hauled you home here 45 minutes ago. Where were you?
I was out on a date.
Is that who you bought the medicine for? Ben, call the druggist and get that cab driver. We'll take Tenny downtown.
All right. All I did was buy the bandages and stuff. I got nothing else to do with this.
Who'd you buy the stuff for?
Now, you know everything else. You figure it.
Oh, now, look, punk. We know there were 3 of them. One of them killed a cop. We're going to get to him, and Tenny, you're not going to stand in our way.
They killed somebody. They didn't tell me that.
Who didn't tell you?
I don't want any part of murder. I'm going to tell you who it was, but I'm clean. I got nothing to do with it. I was trying to help him out of a jam.
Who were you trying to help?
It was Roy Bemis, Charlie Sickle, and Red Jans. They didn't tell me nothing about murder.
Well, why'd you help?
They offered me a pretty good piece of change to run an errand for them. You know I got paid for. That's all I had to do with it.
Where did you deliver those medical supplies?
I have to tell you that. I'm afraid of Jans. He's awful free with that shotgun.
We'll give you protection. Now, where are they?
Can I go to jail till you get them?
You'll get protection. Give us the address.
It's an apartment house. Just around the corner from here. The Blue Eagle.
We took Sam Tenney down to Central Division with us. On the way downtown, he told us that Red Jantz and the other 2 had their room at the Blue Eagle barricaded. Tenney said that they told him that they'd kill the first cop who tried to take them. Well, we knew they were wounded. He told us that Sickle had an arm wound, Bemis got it in the leg, and Jantz had a slug in his side. We figured they'd be weak from the loss of blood, and we could take them easy.
You'll never take those guys easy. Sure, they lost a little blood, but they had enough fight left to stack that room. And they got enough left to kill you if you try to take them.
On the way to headquarters, we stopped at an all-night drive-in and called Ed Backstrand. We told him we had a radio car watching the Blue Eagle. We gave him the whole story and told him we were on our way in. By the time we checked into homicide, Ed had the plan all mapped out. It was 2:25 a.m.
Here's the map from the city engineers. It's one city block bounded on the north by Hawthorne Street, on the south Lawndale Avenue, on the east 16th Street, and to the west 17th.
The Blue Eagle apartment house is right here, on 16th and Hawthorne.
West of the Blue Eagle is a private residence. South of the Blue Eagle on 16th is a vacant lot. There are 12 apartments in the building. The men we want are on the second floor, number 11. And that apartment faces east on 16th.
How do you want to handle it, Ed?
Now, Baker and Moorheim will evacuate the private residence. Friday and Romero clean out the apartment building.
Right, Skip.
All traffic is being diverted. The entire block is completely isolated. We'll throw up a cordon. As soon as we clear the residence, nobody goes in, nobody goes out.
Will you brief us again when we get there, Ed?
I'll give you all the briefing you need right now. Get this. These guys have already killed a cop. I don't want to lose any more. You know they're heavily armed and they're desperate. Have the men draw shotguns, tear gas, and Tommy guns.
I'll take care of that, Skipper.
All right. Now, we're not going in after these punks like tin horn heroes. We're going after them, and we're coming out alive. All of us. What time is it, Friday?
2:37.
Not much time till sunup, is it?
It was a code 2. That means red light and move fast. Backstrand figured we needed 6 squad cars, 4 men to a car, the police public address truck, ambulance, and floodlights. Ben checked out the weapons to the men, and by 2:46, we pulled out of the Central Division garage. We slid into the area at 3:20 a.m. The 6 squad cars and the public address truck took up their positions. The floodlights were rigged and ready to turn on at Backstrand's command. The machinery was set to roll as soon as we got the neighborhood cleared. Ben and I evacuated the Blue Eagle apartment house.
How many does that make, Joe?
Well, we've cleared 9. 2 to go. Here's apartment 10.
The killers are right next door. Joe, I'd like to kick that door in right now.
Take your time, Ben. We'll get to him. Quiet now.
Yeah, what is it?
Police department. May we come in?
Yeah, of course. What's the trouble?
No trouble. We're evacuating the building. Now, we'll have to ask you to leave by the back door. We'll notify you when to return. Please leave quietly and lock your door.
What's going on?
No time to explain. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Okay, now, we'll skip 11 and go to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah? Who are you? Police department. Can we come in? Sorry to disturb you at this hour. We're evacuating the building. Please hurry and leave quietly by the back door. You'll be notified when to return. Lock your door when you leave, thank you.
It was 4:10 a.m. Everything was set now. The neighborhood was completely cleared. The entire block was empty except for apartment 11 on the second floor of the Blue Eagle. I left Ben to watch the door of apartment 11. I went downstairs and across the street to join the rest of the men. It was Ed Backstrand's show from here on. That's it, Ed. All set.
Baker, Moorheim, all clear?
All clear, Chief.
Baker, you and Moorheim take 3 men and cover the rear of the building.
Right.
Is that detail covered Hawthorne Street?
They're all set, Ed.
How about the vacant lot?
Taken care of.
The rest of you men? Yeah. Friday and I are going into the building. We'll try to get him to come out now. Johnson.
Yes, sir?
Come with us and keep us covered. Let's go.
Apartment 11's up at the head of the stairs, Ed.
Right. Any action, Romero?
Not a thing, Skipper.
Keep down, all of you. I'll try to get them out. Jance, Bemis, Sickle, you're all alone. The building's clear. Come on out with your hands behind your head. Come on out, Jance, or we'll come in and get you. You hear me?
I hear you, Ed.
Come on, let's get out to the street. Johnson, cover that door and be careful. Keep down.
Right, Chief.
Friday, Romero, come with me.
We left Sergeant Johnson to watch the door, and we ran out into 16th Street and ducked down behind the police sound truck. The floodlights hit the side of the building. Backstrand grabbed the microphone.
Jance, Bemis, Sickle, you've got 30 seconds to come down out of that room. Walk out backwards with your hands behind your head. Stay together. Don't fan out. 30 seconds, Jance.
They're making it tough, Ed.
Pomelo, lob some tear gas through that window.
Right, Skipper.
Come on out, Bemis. We're giving you a chance. That's more than you gave that cop in the bar. Come on out.
That's Jance, Ed. He isn't coming out.
They must have got Johnson because they're in another room.
Shoot the gas in there.
That's not going to get him out, Ed.
Give it time, Flatty.
Burn those floodlights in up there. Friday, rake that second floor with the Tommy gun. Let's keep them in one room.
Right.
Hold your fire, Friday.
George, give us a couple of masks. Ben and I are going in.
The rest of you men concentrate your fire on those 2 rooms. Hit them down.
Here's your mess, Joe. Let's go.
Come on. Put that mask on, Ben, and keep down.
Yeah, wait a minute. Somebody coming down the inside stairs.
Duck, Ben. He's got a gun.
I got one, copper. Get out of my way.
Stop it, you. You haven't got a chance.
I'm coming through, copper.
I think I stopped him, Joe.
Can you see Johnson?
No, it's too much gas in there.
All right, you 2 up there. We got one of you. The other 2, come on out.
Joe, think we got him?
I don't know. Can you see Johnson?
No, Joe. It's still too thick in there.
I'm going in, Ben. Cover me. Come on. We know there are 2 of you up there.
Just one, copper.
Throw your gun down the stairs ahead of you. Hurry up. Shotgun, Joe. Jance.
I see him. I'll take him at the foot of the stairs.
All right, I got my hands up.
I found Johnson, Ben. All right, Jance, outside. Come on. Move. Put the handcuffs on him, Ben. I'll cover you.
How's Johnson?
I don't know. Ed, get the ambulance crew over here.
Jance, who's this other guy we got?
Bemis.
How about Sickle?
I said just one, didn't I, copper?
Never mind the smart talk, Jance. Now just answer the question, huh?
Sickle wanted out of it a long time ago, so I let him out. He's upstairs. I let him out the back way.
Mean you shot him?
He wanted out, didn't he?
All right. We'll take him in. Johnson's in the ambulance. I'll see you in the office.
Yeah. Right, Skipper.
How about a smoke, huh?
No. Yeah. Here you go. Backstrand said he didn't want those men to see another sunrise.
Yeah.
5 minutes to 5, Joe. Sun ought to be up.
Yeah. But look, Ben. It's cloudy. Guess we'll never know, huh?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Edgar Red Jans, the sole survivor, was tried and convicted and sentenced to be put to death in the state penitentiary in the manner prescribed by law. You have just heard the 4th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to radio car patrolman Forrest E. Sawyer of the Denver, Colorado Police Department, who on the evening of March 8, 1937, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
I'd like to tell you folks about Kraft's golden cheese food, Velveeta. Velveeta is such good eating. Just taste that grand, rich, yet mild cheddar cheese flavor. And Velveeta is so good for you. It's rich in important food values from milk itself. For swell-tasting snacks, for good hearty sandwiches, for thrifty, easy hot dishes, it's smart to keep stocked with Velveeta. Get it tomorrow in the handy quarter-pound package or in the economical 2-pound loaf. The cheese food of top quality. Velveeta is made only by Kraft.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Liniment, your faithful friend with muscles ache and pain, presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, brought to you, the men and women of America, by the makers of Sloan's Liniment. With the cooperation of leading law enforcement officials of the United States, Gangbusters presents facts in the relentless war of the police on the underworld. Authentic case histories that show the never-ending activity of the police in their work of protecting our citizens. America's crusade against crime.
Now, for those of you who are familiar with the name Schwarzkopf, just an editorial note, and we'll get right back to the program. Colonel Schwarzkopf, who oftentimes interviews the lawman who brings in the story to Gangbusters, is, of course, in actuality, the father of H. Norman Schwarzkopf, General of the United States Army. And so this is kind of interesting to hear him portrayed, his father portrayed as a law enforcer. And also interesting, there's the character of the lawman, a sheriff, a judge who comes on the program, Judge Miller, is played by none other than Bill Johnstone, who about the same time was playing The Shadow on the Mutual Network. So there's a couple of interesting voices to listen for here.
Now for our proxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Judge L.D. Miller of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Picture our setting as a special office turned over to Gangbusters by Commissioner Louis J. Valentine of the New York City Police. Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Judge Miller, I understand that Charleston and Rogers, the nickel and dime bandits, were hunted by the police of 6 states.
Yes, Colonel Schwarzkopf. Actually, 8 different police departments were after them within a period of 30 days.
But why do you call these particular criminals the nickel and dime bandits?
Well, Colonel, James Carlson, the brains of the combination, had a theory of crime different from any criminal in all my experience.
I got a new slant on stick-ups that'll pay big dividends. I'm going to get me a smart partner that knows how to use a gat. Then we're going to go through the Mississippi Valley pulling little jobs, nickel and dime jobs. When we pulled enough of these nickel and dime jobs, we'll have just as much jack as if we'd stuck up a dozen big banks.
On December 4th, 1939, following a term at Minnesota State Reformatory, Charlson drove up to a roadside tavern near Minneapolis. The owner was talking to a customer.
You're right with you, mister. Anything else, sir? Oh, that'll be all, Bill. Charge it, will you? With a fancy car like that, you want me to charge it?
No fancy. Right behind you, pal. Turn around.
What?
Look out, Bill. He's got a gun. A special kind of gun, mister, with a hair trigger. Come on, both of you. Back up into that hot dog joint before I turn this cannon loose on you. I want your dough.
Oh, I got some change.
Give it to me.
Here you are.
Now, you. Open up that cash register.
Here. $35. It's all I got.
I know it ain't. Scoop out that change and stick it in my pocket.
Nickels and dimes, huh? I'd like to see you for 5 minutes without that gun. Here's a change.
Thanks, white guy.
Now get out of here.
Not so fast, you. Empty your pockets.
Pretty brave, aren't you, with a gun?
Yeah, and it's liable to go off any minute.
No sawed-off punk's gonna take my dough.
I warned you, white guy.
Bill! You're not getting away from me.
I'll show you.
Give me that gun. You're all through, punk.
Let go of me.
You hurt?
Let go of me.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty bad. I dropped all 3 of those bullets, but I got his gun. You're gonna need a doctor. What do we do with this guy? Lock him in the washroom. Yeah, you make it all right?
Yeah, sure.
I got the special gun, you rat.
Yeah.
Give me back my money.
All right. Here you are.
Now, come on, you into the washroom.
You'll never get me to jail.
Inside, punk.
Okay, white guy.
I'll lock it and then phone the police. Better get an ambulance, Bill. You're bleeding bad. Hello, operator, get me the police. Sit down, Bill.
What's that? The washroom window.
There. Up front. There he goes.
He's in his car.
Stop! Stop, or I'll shoot!
Oh, it's jammed. That guy's special pistol jammed and saved his own life.
It is rare, Judge Miller, for the victim to turn on his assailant at gunpoint and disarm him.
It is, Colonel. Fortunately, the wounds of the tavern owner were not serious. Johnson made a dash for Chicago, where he went into partnership with another criminal named Joe Rogers. Together, they stole a late model car and started south, blazing a trail of robberies from Illinois to Louisiana. On the night of December 17th in Blytheville, Arkansas, Charleston and Rogers committed an unusual robbery, showing a peculiar obsession.
Blytheville, Arkansas, robbery. 2 men broke into a house and stole a large collection of pistols, automatics, shotguns, and rifles. Seen escaping in blue or black Dodge sedan. Notify all gun dealers to be on lookout for unusual weapons of foreign make.
A few days later, Colonel, Charleston and Rogers were in Minneapolis, waiting in a stolen new Buick sedan across the street from a small apartment house.
Boy, this is the life, huh, Rogers? You said it, Charleston. Cops and newspapers screaming about us from here to New Orleans. Nothing for us to do but sit back and take it easy.
I'd sure like a drink right now.
Yeah, so would I. Wish that baby of yours would hurry up.
It's only 10 past 11. I told her to sneak out at 15:15.
She made up her mind to come with us?
Hope so. You know me, Rogers. Wine, woman, and song.
Yeah, I know. But when are we going to quit this small-time stuff and go after something big?
Like what?
Banks.
Forget it, Rogers. Knock over a bank and every cop in the state's after you.
Just think of the dough we could pick up in banks. All we've been getting the places you pick is chicken feed. Nothing but nickels and dimes.
There's nothing you can't buy with nickels and dimes, Rogers. If you got enough of them.
Sure, but we could...
There's no buts to it. It adds up, see? And the rap for little jobs is nothing like it is for a bank.
But in one bank job...
Listen, sap.
Hey, take it easy, will you?
Banks have guards, and the guards have guns and tear gas. They have balconies to ambush bank bandits. They have burglar alarms to call the cops. Don't you see, we can get as much in a flock of gas stations as we could in a dozen banks. And no risk.
Maybe you're right.
The way I figure it...
Hold it, Charleston. Here comes your girlfriend.
Oh. Hello, baby.
Hello, Jim. Gee, I'm glad to see you.
You and me both. Get in the car.
Okay.
It's my pal, Joe Rogers.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
How are you?
Oh, what's up? Where are we going?
We're going south, kid. How'd you like to go with us?
South? Oh, gee, I'd love to, but what about my folks?
Send them a postcard.
Yeah.
Just say, having a wonderful time. I wish you were here.
Hey, what are you guys going to do?
We got special ideas. Swell clothes, good liquor, and plenty to keep us busy. What do you say?
I say, what are we waiting for?
Baby, you're going to be perfect. Let's go, Rogers.
Where to?
Back to New Orleans, where it's nice and warm. But we're going to make some stops on the way. And where we stop, nobody's ever going to forget us. This will be a joyride to remember.
That was near midnight, Colonel, on December 21st, 1939. 3 days later, Chief C.R. Bryan of the Chattanooga, Tennessee Police was sitting in his office when Police Captain Homer Edmondson walked in with a message in his hand.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Chief Bryan. This just came in on the teletype. Thought you'd like to look at it.
From Sweetwater, huh?
Yes, sir.
Arrest 2 men wanted here for robbery of roadside cafe this morning, 3 a.m. One man about 20, weight 150, blue eyes, light hair. Another one, older, weight about 140, dark hair, slender. Both bandits wearing leather jackets.
That's a pretty complete description, Chief.
These bandits took $60 in currency, cigarettes, liquor, and a large amount of nickels and dimes. They're heavily armed. Large amount of nickels and dimes. That sounds familiar.
You're right, Captain. This is the 6th report in the last few days that used those exact words.
Yes, and each report was near Chattanooga. Have you broadcast this message to the patrol cars?
Yes, sir. Right after it came in.
Send it out again, Captain. This is the first good description we've had of those men. If they try anything here, I want every man on the force to be waiting for them.
Right, Chief.
Wait a second.
Chief Barnes speaking.
Sent some cops over quick, Chief. I've just been robbed.
Who's this?
Jack Parker. I got a filling station at Main and Watkins. I just opened up 10 minutes ago, and 2 guys walked in and...
Hold on a minute. Captain, there's been a holdup over at Main and Watkins, a filling station. Send a patrol car over there right away.
Right away, Chief.
Go ahead, Mr. Parker. What happened?
These 2 guys walked in, Chief. They both wore leather jackets. They had 4 guns between them, and they cleaned out the cash register.
How much did they get?
$7. Almost all small change.
Nickels and dimes, huh?
Well, I know it don't sound like much, Chief, but it's a lot to me.
Mr. Parker, I don't care if it was 7 cents or $7 million. If these bandits are the men I think they are, they're going to try to pull some more jobs like this here in Chattanooga, and we're going to get them.
The next afternoon, Colonel, the woman manager of a small dry goods store in Chattanooga saw 2 men, apparently customers, walking into her store.
Now, I'll help you, gentlemen.
Yeah, let me see some shirts. The best you got. And I want to see some socks and ties.
Certainly, right over here. What size shirt, sir?
15 collar, 34 sleeve. And I want size 11 socks.
Here they are. Just take your pick.
That's just what we're going to do, sister. Stick 'em up.
Hold up.
Take it easy, sister. One peep out of you and I'll drill you.
Please.
Get down on the floor behind our counter. And don't move if you want to live.
Yes,
Pretty fancy-looking socks, pal. Get some for me.
What kind of shirts you getting?
Silk, the most expensive I can find.
Make it fast.
Okay. These here look swell. Green silk. You ready, pal?
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, sister, where's your cash register?
There in back of the counter. But there's only a...
I know. There's only a little change. That's what they all say. How much, pal? $10 and about 5 and change. Thanks for the service, lady. We'll be sure to tell our friends about you. And remember, sister, if you move off that floor before we're out of this store, it'll be the last time you ever move.
Exactly 44 minutes later, Colonel, in a Chattanooga liquor store on the other side of town.
Will that be all, gentlemen? Just the 3 bottles of whiskey?
No, that ain't all, mister. Reach for the ceiling.
What do you want?
Don't shoot him, pal. The cops might hear you get. All right? Keep him covered.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to teach you not to be so nosy. That'll teach you to ask me what I want.
Now, please don't kick me again.
Come on, pal. Let's get out of here. Get the dough. Okay. Take everything, even the small change. How much is it?
Yeah, there's about $90 here. Hey, here's something else, pal. A nice new gap for your collection.
Say, not so bad. Different from any I got. Maybe I ought to try it out on this wise guy.
No, please.
Okay, mister, but just so you won't run after us, here's something more to remember us.
That brutal holdup was the third the nickel and dime bandits committed in the heart of Chattanooga within 24 hours, Colonel. It redoubled the efforts of the police to catch Charleston and Rogers and resulted in a gun battle that Chattanooga will long remember. Law enforcement officers within a radius of 50 miles of Chattanooga cooperated. At a special meeting of police representatives at the office of Chief C.R. Bryant, all possible angles were discussed.
Fortunately, men, we have a complete description of these 2 bandits and definite identification clues.
What are they, Chief Bryan?
Well, first, Sussman, there's the nickel and dime angle. So anyone seen spending an unusual amount of silver is a definite suspect. Then there's the gun angle.
The gun angle?
It's this, Frazier. These men are crazy about guns. They take pride in them. Not just as weapons, but as items to collect.
So the bandits might just show off their guns sometime without staging a holdup, huh?
Particularly if they've been drinking.
Well, that's still another clue, Chief Bryan. The amount of liquor they consume, judging by the amount they've stolen. And the girl with them. The one that's been seen in their car. Now, we have her description.
All right, Captain Edmondson. These are all valuable clues, men. And we have one other advantage. From what these bandits have said to their victims, they don't expect the police to go after them seriously.
Just because the thefts have been relatively small, huh?
Exactly.
That gives me an idea, Chief.
What is it, Edmondson?
Maybe we can get these bandits through a weakness in their own system. How, Captain? Let's give these clues to every reliable citizen in the vicinity of Chattanooga. Every small storekeeper. Then when the bandits do show up again, they'll be spotted immediately.
Good idea. Well, when it's understood, every available man is to stay on duty till these bandits are behind bars. I want them in custody before somebody gets killed.
Within 1 hour after that meeting, Colonel, merchants, filling station employees, liquor store proprietors, business people all over Chattanooga were planning to cooperate with the police.
Cooperate with police? Listen, I'm staying right here at the store. If those bandits come back this way, I'm going to be ready for them.
If those nickel and dime crooks come anywhere near me, I'm going to call the police. I'll know them if I ever see them again.
I'll be glad to cooperate. I've got a score to settle with those rats, and I'd like to see them both behind bars. If they ever come into my place, I'll...
Nickels and dimes, eh? I get it. If those buzzards stick their noses in my place, I'll be waiting for them. You can count on me.
That night, Colonel, December 26, 1939, at the Rock Castle Roadhouse, 10 miles west of Chattanooga, the cashier, Bill Raper, was standing behind his counter.
Hey, you, cashier.
Yes, sir?
I want a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We're not allowed to sell liquor in bottles, except the guests of Rock Castle.
I'm a guest here. Me and my pal are in one of the cabins right next door.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sure. Here you are. That'll be $165, please.
You'll have to take it and change.
Change?
Fistful, buddy. Here.
25, 50, $10, 20, 30, 55, 65. Right. Thank you, sir.
Your bet is right. Say, what are you staring at?
Oh, why,
See anything wrong with me?
No, I was just thinking what a good-looking green silk shirt you have on.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, it is good-looking. Everything I got's good-looking. Look at this.
Hey, what?
Don't be scared. I ain't going to use it on you.
Boy, that's some pistol.
Bet your life it is. Special automatic. Only one like it in the country.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anything else you want?
Yeah, sure. I almost forgot. Give me some of those box lunches you got, huh?
How many?
Let's see now. 3.
Yes,
Three.
Here they are. Do you want me to carry them for you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting a little rocky.
Hey, Joe, take over, will you?
Okay.
I'll be right back. Let's go, sir. So which cabin is it?
Second one on the left.
This the cabin?
Yeah, I'll knock. Hey, open up. Come on, open up. It's me. Come on.
Pipe down, will you?
Come on, let me in. Where's Faith?
I reckon I'll be getting along, mister.
Yeah, sure. See you later, mister. Good night.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Operator, get me the police.
Police headquarters, Chief Ryan speaking.
Chief, listen, this is Bill Raper out at Rock Castle.
Yes, Bill?
Those 2 nickel and dime crooks you're looking for, they're here.
How do you know?
I'm positive, Chief. Every single clue you give me. The nickels and dimes, the guns, the liquor, everything checks.
Did you notice a car?
Yes, sir. It's a big, black, new 1940 Buick.
Where are they?
In a cabin right next door.
How many?
3 of them, sir. 2 men and a girl.
That's what I call fine cooperation, Bill. Sit tight and don't say a word to anyone. I'll send an emergency squad out there right away.
15 minutes later, Colonel, Captain Homer Edmondson, with a group of picked men from the Chattanooga Police Force, including Detective Shipley and Carson, met members of the County Uniform Police under Captain Dyer outside the Rock Castle Roadhouse. The cashier, Bill Raper, was waiting for them.
Which cabin are they in, Mr. Raper?
That one with the lights on, Captain Edmondson.
All right, men. Sussman and Fraser, you stick with me.
All right, Captain.
Now, we'll go to the front of the house. Shipley, you and Carson cover the back with Captain Dyer. You got that?
Right, Captain.
What's our plan, Captain? Simply to close in and get those bandits. We can't start shooting till we're absolutely sure these are the men we want. But if they show the slightest resistance, open fire with riot guns immediately. Ready? Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Watch it. They turned out the lights. Better stand back. I'll knock.
Open up.
Who is it?
Police.
Just a minute.
Hurry it up.
All right, coppers, come and get it!
Get back, man. Captain, just listen to those bullets bounce.
All right, men, open up with your riot guns.
Right, Captain.
Get down low, babe. Those cops are using riot guns.
We'll fix them, Jimmy. I'll load your pistol.
Roger. Yeah? Cover the back door. I'll cover the front.
Okay, Charleston.
Come on, coppers. Try and take it.
You'd better give up in there. You're surrounded.
We'll give them hot lead. Give me another gat, babe. This one's empty.
Here you are, Jimmy.
How is it in the back, Rogers? Can't see him. It's too dark out there.
Well, they're all around us, Jimmy.
Keep down, babe.
Oh.
Babe, you hit.
Oh, my head.
Told you to keep down. All right, coppers. You got my gal. I'll show you can't get away with that. Charleston, there's a copper creeping up in the back. You cover the front, Rogers. I'll get that cop. He's coming right up to the back door.
What are you going to do, Jimmy?
Shut up, babe. I'm running this show. Open your hands, all three of you. I'm waiting for you, cop.
Jimmy, you killed him.
I'll say I killed him. I got his gun, too.
Jimmy, they got Rogers.
Lie down on the floor, babe. I'll get him for that. All right, coppers. I got one of you. Who's next?
Yes, Fraser.
They killed Shipley.
Shipley? How?
He broke in the back door, shot down before he had a chance.
Oh, the dirty dogs. Give me a rat gun, Fraser.
Yes,
mine's empty.
Captain, I'm going after him.
Now, wait, don't go up there. It's probably a trap.
There goes one of them out the side door. Stop for a fire. He's running for the woods.
I can't see him.
There, between those big trees.
Missed him.
It's so dark, I can't see.
Oh, we'll never find him in this darkness.
What do we do, Captain?
He might be hurt. Dyer, you and Carson follow him. I am going to get some bloodhounds.
What's the matter with the dogs, Captain? Why are they stopping? Too dark for them?
I'm afraid they lost the trail, Fraser.
What, after we followed that bandit for almost 8 miles?
It's all right, Sussman. Those bloodhounds have told me just what I want to know.
That'll get you, Captain.
For the last 2 miles, the bandits' trail has followed right along these railroad tracks.
That's right.
But now we've lost it. I can't see what that
We're
is.
headed toward Chattanooga, not away from it. Doesn't that mean anything to you men?
You mean you thought maybe the bandit would jump afraid away from Chattanooga?
No, Sussman. I thought he'd head for Chattanooga, but I couldn't be sure. Now I know he's gone back to the city, where we can lay our hands on him.
With one of the nickel and dime bandits, Joe Rogers, dead, Colonel, and the bandit's girlfriend in a prison hospital, the Chattanooga police combed the city for the remaining bandit, now definitely identified as James Charleston. Later that night, after visiting hundreds of rooming houses, 2 police officers, Patrolman Fraser and Sussman, climbed the stairs of a cheap rooming house an hour after midnight.
What number did the landlady say, Fraser?
Room 6.
It's room number 6, right up there at the head of the stairs.
Yeah. Landlady said her new boarder arrived an hour ago.
Have your gun ready?
Bet I will, Sussman. Turn on your flashlight. I'll try the door.
Right.
Door's unlocked.
That's lucky. Careful now.
Yep.
Easy. There, he's in bed.
Sound asleep.
Wonder if he's a guy we want.
He's pretty young for a bandit. Let's make sure, Sussman. Pull down the covers.
A pistol there in his right hand.
And another one next to him.
He's starting to wake up. Grab him.
I'm with you.
Look on him. I didn't do nothing.
I got him, Fraser. Put the bracelets on him.
Charleston, you're all through.
You cops are crazy. I'm not the guy you want.
No, you're all right, Fraser. Let's see those 2 guns.
That don't prove nothing, copper. I didn't kill nobody. I like guns. See, I collect them.
Yeah? Well, this is one gun you never should have collected, Charleston. It's the gun you took from Detective Shipley after you killed him. And it's the last gun you're ever going to collect.
And so, Colonel Schwarzkopf, through splendid police work and excellent citizen cooperation, the criminal activities of James Charleston came to an abrupt end. Placed on trial in my court for robbery and murder on February 27th, 1940, he was quickly found guilty. I sentenced him to life imprisonment in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. He is there at this very moment.
And what happened to the girl who was with Charleston and Rogers, Judge Miller?
For months, she hovered between life and death with a bullet touching her brain. The doctor said her mental faculties would be impaired indefinitely, and under the circumstances, she was freed in the custody of her parents.
Thank you, Judge Miller, for a fine case. I'm particularly pleased with the way you brought out the great value of public cooperation with the authorities. When the police thus frankly solicit help from our law-abiding citizens, and those citizens promptly and comprehensively cooperate, no criminal can escape. Every time the police and the people work together, the end is inevitable. Crime does not pay.
And now, the clues.
Special bulletin, all citizens. Watch for murderer 24, 5 feet 5 inches, 135 pounds. Dark brown hair slicked back, brown eyes. This man with tall, sandy-haired companion having wrinkled face. Wanted for brutal murder several days ago. Refrigeration engineer near San Antonio, Texas. May be traveling in black Ford station wagon. And may have in possession a .44 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver with cedar handle.
Warning, citizens of Pennsylvania, be on lookout for man 28, 5 feet 8 inches, 160 pounds, brown hair, gray eyes, occupation farmer. This man wanted in connection with feud slaying last week, Indian Head section of Fayette County, Pennsylvania.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or gangbusters at once. For Sloan's Liniment next week, the case of the missing corpse. Here reenacted for the first time, the inside factual account of one of the most fantastic cases in all criminology. Learn how a dead man faced his murderer. Sloan's Liniment brings you one of Philip H. Lord's most astounding dramatizations in America's Crusade against Crime.
Proven in over 2 million homes. Second, you get both AM and FM radio with RCA Victor's new extended tone range. And third, the Rutland gives you 2 automatic record changers that enable you to enjoy records at all 3 speeds. Yes, enjoy all of these fine instruments in one fine combination at one money-saving price. Look over the Rutland soon. And say, here are 2 new RCA Victor Red Seal releases to add to your collection. September Song, sung on a single record by Ezio Pinza, and the album of selections from Gershwin's Porgy and Bess with Reza Stevens and Robert Merrill.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
This is your FBI. This is your FBI, an official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, presented as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. To your FBI, you look for national security, and to the Equitable Society for financial security. These 2 great institutions are dedicated to the protection of you, your home, and your country. Tonight, the story of a crime against the home. Kidnapping.
Just as it takes a special type of criminal to become a Hitler, so it takes a special type to become a kidnapper. Someone who refuses to face the fact that eventually all kidnappers and those who aid them will be hunted down by the FBI until they are dead or brought to justice. Such criminals aren't born, they're made. Created by environment, by society, by circumstance. And in one case, a kidnapper was created by something else, too. By his wife.
Sally. Ain't that enough for today?
No.
That last round was
No, Frank.
I'm tired.
Then rest for a minute.
And dragging me out here every day for 2 weeks. I'm a good enough shot.
For small-time holdups, maybe.
That bank job was no...
You don't have to tell me about that bank job, Frank. That was my idea. Just like everything's been my idea.
Okay. If it's all yours, take the gun, too.
Oh, darling, darling. You know I didn't mean it that way.
Mm.
You know I plan everything just for you. Besides, I couldn't do it all myself.
If you could, you would.
Don't be silly.
I don't know what the point of all this target practice is anyway.
It's going to give you a reputation.
With 2 stretches behind me, I've got one.
Like 100 others. But you're going to be bigger. Bigger than all of them.
Bigger?
Yes. What's the point of being anything if you can't be the biggest, the best, if you can't be number 1? And that's what we're going to be, Frank. Number 1.
You're crazy.
Wait and see.
Look, a couple more bank jobs and we can be driving on gasoline for the rest of our lives.
That's what my father must have said to my mother. And what were they? Petty crooks. Now they have to live on what I hand out to them. No, darling. We're going to do it right. One real job. And then we quit.
What one real job?
Never mind.
Come on.
When we're ready, I'll tell you.
Sally.
Darling, have I ever given you a bum steer?
Well...
Have I?
No, but...
Now empty both barrels like a good boy, and we'll call it quits for today.
Professional criminals don't work alone. They help each other. The most successful are those who get the most help, and they get it through their reputations in the crime world. Sally Hadley learned this the way most people learn things, through experience. She made her husband an expert with a sawed-off shotgun, and then she made herself his press agent. She gave him a name, Shotgun Hadley. She passed out shells as souvenirs. She planned robberies and holdups, saw that he carried them out perfectly. She built up his reputation, and then she was ready. Ready for really big game. Ready for that hot Saturday night in July when an Oklahoma millionaire named Walter Montgomery was playing cards on the screen porch of his home with his wife and his best friend.
There's no point in playing with you, Henry. You always win.
You and Walter just let me win because I'm your guest, right, Walter?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Henry?
Oh, Walt.
I thought I heard a car stop down below.
You always think you hear something nobody else does.
How about another hand?
Well, not for me.
Me either. I'm about ready for bed.
Oh, why don't you...
Sit down and keep quiet.
What are you...
Sit down. The shotgun works. Which one of you is Walter Montgomery?
What do you want to know?
Never mind. Which one of you is Montgomery? Which one of them's your husband, lady? Okay, I'll take both of them.
But you can't...
Shut up! Come on your feet, boys. We're going for a little drive. If you ever want to see your husband again, stay away from the phone, Mrs. Montgomery. I told you the shotgun works.
1 hour later, a blue sedan stopped at an intersection 12 miles from Oklahoma City. A man was shoved out and his empty wallet thrown after him. Then the car continued on its way with Walter Montgomery blindfolded on the back seat. Just about that time, Mrs. Montgomery was putting through a long-distance call. She knew kidnapping was a federal offense, and following the Attorney General's advice to the public, she telephoned Mr. J. Edgar Hoover in Washington. In less than 45 minutes, special agents assigned by Mr. Hoover were on their way. They took no immediate action. Not even 4 days later, when Mrs. Montgomery received a typewritten letter, the first of a series of letters, the first of a series of ransom notes.
There was this note from my husband enclosed in the letter.
Are you sure that's his handwriting, Mrs. Montgomery?
Yes. He said to give them the $200,000.
Well, he certainly set a high price. Did they give you instructions how to pay?
Well, the letter says to watch for an ad in the paper.
And then take an ad yourself?
Yes.
Then it told you not to notify the police.
Yes.
Not to take down the serial number of the bills, and have only, used $20 notes.
How did you know?
We haven't been reading your mail. It's just that kidnapping notes always follow the same pattern. Who do they want as the intermediary to deliver the money?
Henry, Mr. Carroll. He's my husband's best friend.
Well, if they put that ad in the paper tomorrow and you answer immediately, your husband should be back first of next week.
Unless something happens.
What do you mean?
Mr. Schuyler.
Yes.
I want to cooperate with the government. I know kidnappers are the worst kind of criminals. But you see, I want my husband back. Please don't do anything.
Mrs. Montgomery, there's no need for you to worry. The first concern of the FBI in any kidnapping case is to get the victim home safely. We want to see your husband back here as much as you do. And we won't make one single move that will stand in the way of his coming back.
Thank you.
3 days later, arrangements were made to have a satchel containing $200,000 thrown from the observation platform of a speeding train at a certain spot in Oklahoma. Although no one knew it, the serial number of every bill was taken down and listed. And 9 days after he was kidnapped, Walter Montgomery came home to his wife. He hadn't had much sleep. He was very tired, but he was safe. He was alive. He was home. As soon as he'd recovered from the shock and rested, he was interviewed by the FBI. Now, Mr. Montgomery.
Yes?
What was the last thing you saw before being blindfolded?
Why, a lot of lights. Must have been some kind of plant.
Well, there was a power plant near where they dropped Mr. Carroll.
It could have been a power plant.
All right. Now, on the way to the house, did you hear anything?
Well, one or two cars passed us, but... Oh, yes. We must have passed an oil field.
Why?
I heard the sound of the pumps. And twice I remember smelling gas.
Well, then you passed 2 oil fields.
That's right.
Now, how long after you passed that second field would you guess it was before you got to the house?
Oh, I don't know for sure. Not long, though.
15 minutes?
Oh, less. I think about 10, say.
Good. Now, did the car drive right up to the house, or did they stop for anything?
They stopped to open a gate.
How do you know?
I heard a creak.
Mm-hmm. And then they drove right up to the house?
No, they drove into some kind of a building. Mm-hmm. A barn, it must have been, because I could smell hay.
Well, then the house is probably a farmhouse.
Yes. Yes.
Was it close to the barn?
It was exactly 12 steps away. I counted them.
Glad you did. Now tell me, did you have to go up any steps to the house?
3. And they creaked.
What happened when you got inside?
Well, they put cotton in my ears and taped it over with adhesive so I couldn't hear what they said. Mm-hmm. But every morning I could hear a rooster crow, and then about, less than a minute afterward, the sound of an airplane passing over the house.
An airplane? Did you hear it every day?
Yes. No. One day it didn't come.
Which day?
Well, I don't know. But it rained that day.
That was Sunday. That's the only day it rained while you were away. And that's the only day you didn't hear the airplane.
That's right. I don't know whether this is of any aid to you. At the time, I knew I should try to remember everything that happened so I could be of assistance.
Mr. Montgomery, I think you've practically drawn us a map right to that farmhouse. For the FBI, anything can be a clue. The lights on a power plant, the smell of an oil field, the sound of an airplane. Using the information gotten from Mr. Montgomery, special agents mapped a circle, a ring around the approximate location of the farmhouse. They went to the airlines, checked schedules, checked flights, checked what line did not run a plane on that one Sunday. They figured over approximately what area the early morning flight passed, and the ring around the farmhouse grew smaller, tighter, closer. Now the FBI agents moved into the ring looking for the farmhouse. Looking for a farmhouse with a gate wide enough for a car to pass through. A farmhouse with a barn only 12 steps away. 12 steps away from a porch with 3 creaking stairs.
4, 5, 6.
What do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was anyone home.
Well, you can see I'm home, can't you?
Yes.
What do you want?
I'm representing a real estate company in Tulsa. We're looking over farms in this neighborhood with a view to buying them.
You want to buy this farm?
Does it belong to you?
Well, it belongs to my daughter, Mrs. Hadley.
Sally Hadley?
Yes. You know her?
I've heard of her.
Oh. She was going to give me the place anyways, now.
Mm-hmm.
You want to buy it?
Well, looks like the right place to me. But I'll have to have some of the men in my company look it over this afternoon, if it's all right with you.
Oh, it's fine with me.
You'll be here?
Yeah, I'll be here. As long as I can count on seeing you later.
Oh, don't worry. You can count on seeing me. Definitely.
We momentarily close the Federal Bureau of Investigation file of the case of Shotgun Hadley. We will return to this case in just a moment. In pioneer days, Americans looked to their neighbors for security. When Mrs. Brown was sick abed, neighboring wives came over to help out. If her husband died, neighbors saw to it that she and her children had clothes, food, and shelter. But as the nation grew in population, as life became more complex, this neighborly security was no longer sufficient. To take its place, in the year 1859, a group of Americans founded the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. Today it has grown into a strong mutual organization in which each member enjoys the advantages of association with 3,200,000 good neighbors who have pooled their dollars to protect each other. The equitable management then puts these dollars to work in ways that benefit the entire nation. Equitable funds encourage home ownership. They lend the farmer a helping hand. They finance great industries on which our prosperity depends. So is it not right and proper to speak of life insurance funds as one of democracy's greatest assets? By serving its members, the Equitable serves America. And now, back to the file on Shotgun Hadley, Kidnapper.
Small things, but enough for the FBI special agents to move swiftly on the trail of the kidnappers. The parents of Sally Hadley were arrested and jailed. Throughout the nation, the FBI sent a list of the serial numbers on the ransom money, sent a description of the kidnapper, sent the call, "Find Shotgun Hadley." To the FBI, Frank Hadley was another criminal who had to be caught. To the nation, he was public enemy number 1. To his wife, with whom he shared a hotel suite in St. Louis, Shotgun Hadley was a frightened fool.
We don't have to get out of here. Now sit down and cool off, darling.
Sally, they've got the serial numbers of this dough.
Shall I mix you another drink, too?
They've picked up some of the bills already.
Frank, will you sit down and relax?
Sure. Sit down and wait for them to clap us in jail along with your mother and father.
They're not going to put us in jail because they're not going to catch us.
They will if we don't get on the move.
We'll move. But there's something we've got to do first.
What?
Sit down.
What for?
Go on.
Oh.
That's it, darling. Now, you're going to write a letter.
A letter?
Mm-hmm. Here's a pen and paper. Just write what I tell you.
Who's it to?
Just write what I tell you. Dear Mr. Hoover.
What? Are you...
Go on. Dear Mr. Hoover, while you and your men are knocking yourselves out...
Sally,
No, change that to wearing yourselves out. I am living on the fat of the land. Go on, darling.
Wait a minute. What's the rest of this going to say?
Oh, it's going to say that he'll never catch you because you're too good for him.
What?
You did this alone, all by yourself, without anyone's help. And you did.
What are you trying to do, tie a noose around my neck?
Frank,
This is a confession.
he's got my poor mother and father in jail, and I've got to get them out.
By having me confess?
Look, he knows you did it anyway. This will just clear my folks and show him that you're not afraid of anyone.
It'll just put me in jail instead of them.
Oh. You're really afraid of your own shadow, aren't you, darling?
Sally, listen.
You listen to me. Now, when I married you, I thought you were a man. I thought you were a man who could be the #1 boy in this country. I thought you had guts.
Sally,
What are you afraid of? You are #1 now. You've got to show them that. You've got to show them that they're the ones to be afraid. You've got to show them that you're too big to touch. Because you are, Frank. You are.
Sally, look. If we mail the letter
We're
from here,
not going to. I'm going to send it to a friend of mine in Chicago and have her mail it from there. When they get it, they'll see how big you are. They'll see you don't care.
Yeah, sure.
And then tomorrow, we're going to buy another car, and before they even have a chance to look at the bills, we'll be on our way.
Okay, honey, okay.
You just don't realize what a big man you've become. Now, what have you written?
Dear Mr. Hoover, while you and your men are...
Wait, I've got a wonderful idea. An idea that will top the whole thing off.
What now?
Hoover may think the letter is from some crank. But do you know what you're going to do? You're going to put your fingerprints on it, darling.
What?
You're going to prove this is straight from Shotgun Hadley.
From Chicago, from Dallas, from Denver, from cities all over the West come letters to the FBI. And as the letters turn up, money turns up too, ransom money. $20 bills reported by alert citizens to the FBI. $20 bills that put the FBI closer on the trail of Frank and Sally Hadley. But Sally Hadley has gotten impatient. Leaving her husband in a small house near Memphis, she buys a cheap gingham dress, a red wig, and a second-hand car. And with complete unconcern drives right back to Oklahoma. On the way, she gives a lift to 2 hitchhikers, a man and his 8-year-old daughter.
I guess your little girl is asleep, Mr. Butler.
Yeah, she was awful tired.
Of course she was. Well, we'll get her a good dinner as soon as we get to town.
Oh, you've been so nice, I couldn't let you do anything else for us, ma'am.
Oh, don't be silly. I want to. Besides, she reminds me of my own little girl.
Oh, do you have one?
Yes, by my first husband. He died, poor man, and Frank, that's my second husband, he won't let my little baby live with us.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, he isn't a very nice man. Mr. Butler.
Yeah?
Can I trust you?
Of course.
I'm in terrible trouble, and I've got to speak to somebody. I've just got to get help from someone.
Ma'am, if there's anything at all I can do...
Well, maybe you won't say that when you know the truth. I'm Sally Hadley, and my husband is Shotgun Hadley.
The kidnapper?
Yes.
Gee.
I didn't know what kind of a man he was when I married him. Well, it's a little too late for that now, isn't it? But he's done terrible things to me, too, to my little girl, to my family.
Oh.
Because of him, my poor mother and father are in jail now, and Mr. Butler, I've just got to get them out.
But the papers
I know, but anything my father and mother did, he made them do at the point of that shotgun of his. Will you do me a favor, please? Will you just go to Oklahoma City and see my lawyer for me?
Well, sure,
You see, I can't go because the police are looking for me. But I want him to get a message to the FBI for me. I want him to tell them that if they'll release my mother and father, I'll tell them where my husband is.
I'll be glad to take your message, Mrs. Hadley. Only...
Only what?
Well, my little girl.
Oh, don't worry about her. I'll keep her here with me. Why, she'll be as safe as my own little girl would be.
Hello, Schuyler speaking. Oh, yes. No, not just yet. I'm trying to reach the bureau in Washington. May I call you back in a few minutes? Fine. Goodbye. Mrs. Hadley's lawyer again.
Pretty anxious for our answer, isn't he?
Yes.
You suppose he seriously thinks we're going to release the mother and father, Schuyler?
I don't know. Here's Sally Hadley.
There's a sweet double-crosser for you. Ready to sell out her own husband.
Well, if he's half as tough as his reputation, I don't blame her.
I wonder if she was crazy enough to come back here to Oklahoma.
She might be. We know she hasn't been to a lawyer's office.
I don't think we can stall him much longer.
We don't have to. He's covered by now, and as soon as we find Sally Hadley's intermediary, we'll find her.
And her sharpshooting husband.
Right. Will you get Mrs. Hadley's lawyer for me, please?
Sally Hadley, waiting in an auto camp outside Oklahoma City for the message from a lawyer, gets frightened. And so Sally Hadley, with a little child as her protection, runs to her husband, who is now in Memphis. Meanwhile, special agents of the FBI located a man in Oklahoma City. The man who was Sally Hadley's intermediary. The man whose 8-year-old child is on her way to a gangster's hideout.
Well, now we've got a little 8-year-old girl to worry about, Schuyler.
Yes. I just hope that Hadley woman is there. Hello. Schuyler. You did? I see when. Well, that's that.
What? Where's she going?
I don't know. But we'd better send out a call for a woman driving with an 8-year-old girl.
A woman with a red wig.
Right.
She's probably going back to her husband.
That's my guess, too. And they'll probably try to move with a little girl. Schuyler speaking. Yes. Got it. Right. That was Memphis.
Oh.
2 days ago, a second-hand car dealer down there brought in a flock of those $20 bills. Then a man who sells wigs brought in another.
I see.
And at 4 o'clock this afternoon, a liquor dealer brought in another.
Well, I guess I'd better phone my wife and tell her I won't be home for dinner again.
Yes, I think we'll be having dinner in Memphis.
At 3:45 one September morning, a little girl sat on the Memphis railroad station. A frightened little girl clutching a ticket that would take her back to her father. But a little girl who remembered that she had had supper in a frame house near the edge of the city, and that she had seen a shotgun in that house. At 5:35 that same morning, agents of the FBI and local officers surrounded the frame house. They were armed with guns to battle against the murderous reputation of a man called Shotgun Hadley. It was just beginning to get light when two of them quietly entered the house. They stood for a moment in a dark room. To the left were two doors, two closed doors leading to two bedrooms, leading to Shotgun Hadley. They opened the first.
Keep quiet.
Who are you?
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Federal... Oh, thank God. Listen, he's in there. Get him. He ruined my life.
That was Sally Hadley, the woman who had planned the kidnapping. The woman who later tried unsuccessfully to convince a jury that she was innocent. The woman who cared no more for her husband than she did for his gun. But she had built up a tremendous reputation for him. And now, as the FBI agents moved to the door of his bedroom, they checked their guns. They tried to anticipate the blast of that shotgun. And then, in a quick movement, they rushed the door to Frank Hadley. There was no battle, no fight, no shooting. Frank Hadley, kidnapper, Frank Shotgun Hadley, public enemy number one, stood against the wall, his hands raised high, his knees shaking.
Don't shoot, G-Man. Don't shoot.
That was the beginning of the popular use of the phrase G-men. G-men meaning government men, meaning FBI agents. And that was the first and last time Frank or Sally Hadley tried a kidnapping. No kidnapper in this country has ever tried twice, once the FBI has caught them. Because the FBI is the largest protective force in the world. You see, it doesn't consist only of a director and a Washington headquarters of field officers and special agents. It also consists of you and all those like you. In every case, it's the cooperation of the people which enables the FBI to find the criminal. And that is the way it should be. Because the FBI, like our government, is created by the people, for the people. It is the people.
Have you ever said to yourself, no, I can't possibly buy an extra war bond? And then you find yourself thinking of someone you know in the Army or Navy, your son, and you think, what are your sacrifices compared to his? And so somehow or other you find the money for that extra war bond. Remember the extra satisfaction you felt? Well, that's how members of the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States feel about the special campaign. All premium dollars received from new Equitable policies written in April will be matched with an equal number of dollars by the Equitable. Will be combined total during the 7th War Loan Bond drive in May. Remember, these war bonds will be over purchases, which amounted to the largest single subscription in both the 5th and 6th dollars. For you, your home. The incidents used in tonight's broadcast are taken from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of persons living or dead is accidental. In tonight's cast, Sally was played by Leslie Woods and Hadley by Mandel Kramer. The music was under the direction of Van Cleve. The author was Lawrence MacArthur, and your narrator was Frank Lovejoy. This is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. This is Carl Frank speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and inviting you to tune in again next week at this same time for This is Your FBI.
This is the Blue Network of the American Broadcasting Company.
CRESTA, BLANCA, Cresta, Blanca, Cresta Blanca.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.